welcome to the Hawks Nest live stream pregame show. I know you guys are all just getting your cup of coffees going, but I thought let's get a little pregame show going today. And I thought we should do so as far as looking at the main keys to this upcoming football game. Some games you look at, and there's a lot of keys that are required for your team to win, especially considering where you might be from a talent standpoint. This upcoming game here against Carolina Panthers, I've whittled it on down to a select four. 4 keys for the Seattle Seahawks to find victory this upcoming week. Once we get down the road playing a Niner team or an Eagle team, I think it's going to take 6, 7 things going right for the Hawks to find their way to Victory City. But for this upcoming week and the Hawks to find their second win of the year and their first win at home, I think it's actually going to come from these 4 select things. And at the head of this, the first thing right out the gate is we must stop. We must hold back the grand artillery that is the Red Rifle. Cannot let the Red Rifle beat you this upcoming week, that being one Mr. Andy Dalton. He's had some successes against the Seahawks over the course of his long career, going 3-1. He had a game back in 2019 where he threw for over 400 yards against a Coach Carroll defense in the home opener, though we were able to sneak that little win out at the end. And then you had last year, he was able to beat you with the New Orleans Saints, though I will say that was a game that was a little bit more about Taysom Hill as much as it was about Dalton and what he did from the quarterback position, kind of the combo of those two more than it was just Dalton himself alone. But he has shown himself to be a capable quarterback when put into these kind of situations. And what's more, he's a quarterback along the same lines of those type of quarterbacks who've come through and taken on the Seahawks defense over the last 3-4 years and have had their share of successes. These being quarterbacks who I would say would maybe be limited in their abilities. Maybe they're limited in their ability to move and they're just kind of statues in the pocket, or they don't have the biggest of arms. But it's these type of quarterbacks, let's say the Colt McCoys that have beat you twice over, a Cam Newton, a Taylor Heineke, a Teddy Bridgewater, Nick Foles, who would beat you with Chicago. You've had a variety of these quarterbacks come through and find some successes, even in those games you've been able to pull off as far as wins go. They've still been able to put up a lot of yards on your defense. And I think that it does come down to your defense is going to try to take away the deep ball, which if I'm a big-time quarterback with a big-time arm, I'm going to go take my shots deep. I'm going to go test any defense out there because I want to show off that big arm. If you're a guy that's a little more limited, you're going to play more within yourself. If you're a backup, you're going to play more within yourself. And these kind of guys then are going to be more willing to just kind of take what the defense is going to give them wherever it's going to give them yards. And a lot of times when you're dropping into soft zone defenses, as Seattle does tend to do, you're going to give those easy yards up, and it's going to be more open for those quarterbacks to take advantage of. So you have a quarterback like this, he being that elder statesman who knows what he is and knows what he isn't, he is certainly going to take that by what you give him. So maybe don't give him that. Maybe test whether or not he can still throw a go route 40, 50, 60 yards up the football field and hit it accurately and hit it with some velocity. I'd like to see that he could do that. And if you come out the other end of this game and Andy Dalton's hit 3 or 4 of those throws over the course of the football game, I think you say, okay, so be it. We haven't been attacked in that manner in a long time, and that being how quarterbacks clip us, both through the first 2 weeks with Goff and with Stafford. You had 2 quarterbacks that were living kind of in the middle of the field more often than not. So I say try to challenge them from a defensive perspective here, especially having Witherspoon out there running a little bit more of the man-based concepts to actually hit those shots down the field. You do as well look in combination to just maybe some of the limitations that you might have there from an arm strength standpoint with Dalton. They're limited a little bit in the receiving core as far as at least really pushing up the football field with a lot of speed. There's no real burner here in this receiver core. It's kind of a lot of possession guys. And so you don't really have a guy who's going to challenge your cornerbacks on the outside either to get up the field really fast. All the much more reason to me that they can play those routes down maybe just a little bit tighter, squeeze everything down just a little bit more, and then be able to take advantage of Andy Dalton to really testing him and making him make throws that he's now at this point in time not capable of making. Not to mention when you do force him to have to start to hit those throws are going to be deeper down the field. It's longer developing, and you give your kind of ailing pass rush a bit more of a chance to come to life. So this is the big key number 1. This might be at the head of the stack above all others, but you must, absolutely must not allow the Red Rifle to dink and dunk you to death throughout the course of this football game. Number 2 on my list here of the 4 items it takes for the Hawks to win this football game is you have to limit the A and B gap runs from the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers with Frank Reich are going to want to run the ball, and they're going to run it often here with Dalton to limit his passing attempts, shorten this game as they're playing it on the road. play to their defense a little bit, keeping that defense fresh and really tough to deal with as they are, because that is the toughest part of this team to go at. So there's going to be a lot of running the ball, and I think specifically it is going to be into that A and B gap, because that's been where Frank Reich, as an offensive mind in this league, especially with the Colts there with Jonathan Taylor, that's where he tended to like to live. He's not as much of cut from the cloth of a Shanahan or McVay, where he'll try to do as much to the outside. At least that's not where he's been in recent history. So if I'm the Hawks, I feel like I can kind of amp up a little bit on those A and B gap runs and see if I can handle business in there. And if I do, now I'm putting the ball in the hands of Dalton to kind of throw it. And then if you're squeezing down the routes on the front end there, you're forcing him to throw it deep on top of that. I really like that as a formula here in just general terms to start to get you in the direction of winning this football game. But don't allow them just to hammer you up the middle of your defense in the run game. The good news is that the Seahawks have been very good on this part of it. Got to keep an eye, too, as well, a little bit to the edges, because Chuba Hubbard last year, the combination of Dante Foreman and Chuba Hubbard in that game where the Panthers beat us at home was really the Foreman inside, Hubbard to the outside. So when you do see Chuba Hubbard in the game, it means probably it's going to be either an outside zone run or a pitch play out to him, or maybe even just a screen play to him. It's really, you can kind of lock on it in that manner depending on how they run it a little bit with that. But don't let them live in the A and B gap runs, kind of like they were able to last year with Foreman. Thankfully, at least he's gone. Number 3, don't let the edge rush crush the offense. The Panthers, and the way that they're set up with their pass rush, it's fairly notable about where they're going to get things done. And for me, it's mainly on the edges. Yeah, Frank, the Louvu kid, the middle linebacker out there who can blitz really well, he gives you something from the inside. Derek Brown gives you a little bit of pass rush, but he's mainly a run stuffer. Where you've got to worry with him is Brian Burns on one side on one edge, Yetur Gross-Matos, and the ageless one, Justin Houston, who's been playing for 1,200,000 years in this league, who's still going and still going strong. In fact, he might be their best edge run defender as we start out this year so far. But what it looks like to me when I look at this defense and track a little bit what I'm seeing from them on tape is that, especially when it comes to Burns and Yetur Gross-Matos, you have two guys that are just trying to get up the football field. They want to pass rush, they want to get after the quarterback, and they're pretty good about doing that. Yetur has really started to grow into the player I was kind of thinking he was going to be coming out of Penn State, and Brian Burns right now is playing for a contract. So you know you're getting a hard snap from him, snap in and snap out. So the Seahawks offense here has got to still commit back to some of those chip blocks that they ran last week, like they showed you against Detroit. You can't run it 24/7. You got to mix it up, but make those guys not sure snapping and snap out if they're going to get the chip or not, if they've got to be dealing with two guys or not. Get them just a little bit of a step slower in that department by, allowing that to happen. Quick pass plays are also going to be on the back of this. We're not going to see, I think, a lot of 5 and 7 step drops, even though Geno last week was able at times to hold on to the ball a long period of time. If you look at most of the throws in that game, most of it was hit your back foot, go to your first read, let it rip. Don't test our tackles out there. Don't ask them to have to block for a long period of time out there. Just get the ball out of your hands. Let's get him moving in space off of play action at time, that being Geno Smith. I think they're going to go back to that again this week, but find ways to help your tackles out like you did last week. You do it through a variety of different things, play calling, chip blocks, how you get the help there. But you also do it by making sure that this is where we're not going to let them beat us with. By having these guys one-on-one and 7-step drops all day, don't be doing that type of stuff, because that's going to be setting these tackles up, I think, for really, really tough play against these edges. These guys are really good, especially in Brian Burns' case. You don't want to mess around. You don't want to play around with that guy. So running to the edges as well would be the last little point of strategy on dealing with these really good edges that they have. And what I mean by that is, you have in Yetur and you have in Brian Burns, two guys that if you look, especially at their PFF grades and a bit of what you're seeing on tape, they're just trying to get upfield. So they're not as worried about stopping the run. And that's where if you're going to those edges and you catch them going up the field and you're able to have your back run right past them, there might be a lot of room up in front of you in the run game. New Orleans last week had Tony Jones Jr. going. And Tony Jones is a guy we had here last year, but he's kind of a street guy, right? He's a guy you'll get off the street if your first 3-4 backs are injured. Okay, Tony, come on. Yep, you can take some carries. But you're not going to call him as your number 1, number 2, number 3 back. Now we have a back here and 2 backs here that can challenge here this defense if they want to get up the field in that manner to really make them pay the price if they happen to try that. So that would be the next spot that I would look to here is let's also attack with the running game to the edges in this game. The Hawks have done a good job of that through the first couple of weeks. We saw Detroit really commit to last week, hunkering down when it came to stacking a little bit more of the 8-man boxes, committing a little bit more to that. So, you might see a little bit of that from Carolina in this game too, though they don't have I don't think is necessarily the confidence in the corners on the outside in order to just think they can run that strategy, I think, quite as much as Detroit did. Not that Detroit has amazing corners, but I do think that the Carolina corners right now are kind of struggling a little bit in coverage. And this brings me to point number 4, my final point of what it will take for us to take down this Carolina Panther team this upcoming Sunday. And that would be press these corners and get after them deep. And this is going to be the hard part. I just talked about a second ago, getting to the 5-7 step drops, getting to those long developing plays. It's going to be tough to do. No doubt about that. But you've got to do that in this game. We saw the Saints able to pull this off last week, even though they have some pass protection issues on their line. So there's some creative ways that you can get to this state, but you got to take some shots down the football field with these corners. You have CJ Henderson, who has a 55 coverage grade so far. Dante Jackson, another corner there, 51.6 coverage grade. Even their slot, who's maybe their best corner right now, kind of an age slot in Troy Hill, is only at 63.4. Nobody is lighting the world on fire in coverage right now in that secondary, and they don't have anything necessarily great at safety either. So you can really go after them deep, and especially if you start to press the run, especially if you start to get the 8-man boxes coming up to stop the run, if that's the Panthers, where they can't get away with just a 7-man front. Shaq Thompson's out in this game, so they start to feel like, okay, we got to bring Jeremy Chin down to help out now. Now you got the guys on the outside to attack deep, but you got to go and attack deep. You got to make some of those throws down there. And we haven't seen a lot of Seattle really testing that early on. Part of this being that you're also getting a lot of coverage 2 defenses from the Rams and the Lions through the first 2 weeks. And so that's just dissuaded Geno a little bit to stay more attacking short. But they happen to bring that guy up. You get the opportunity, take your shot against these guys because they're a little bit vulnerable on how they're playing on the outside. It's hard to test them in this realm because they have such a good pass rush and they're a good sound defense overall. But this is the place where I think Seattle can find some success in this game if they're looking to kind of steal some quick points in this game, get some big shot plays down the football field. Something that would be nice to see if we get to, for instance, with DK, if he happens to find some one-on-one coverage in this game. Be interesting to kind of track and monitor as a way for them. This is the tough part, though, because of the fact that you do have your tackles out there. You are looking to get them help. You are looking to keep the short passing game going. And you put that all together, then if you start to see a lot of those cover 2 looks once again, it all comes together in Geno's mind and the coaching staff's mind at that point to just keep peppering those short throws. Nothing wrong with that if that's what the defense is going to give you. As we saw last week, we can find a lot of success in our offense at just attacking in that realm. But just if it's there, if Geno can have those moments, maybe he only has 2 or 3 times. Maybe it's like those home run hitters that are only going to see 2 or 3 fastballs over the course of a baseball game to swing at. When you get that juicy one coming down the middle of the plate, though, if you're Geno Smith, you get that one-on-one coverage with DK Metcalf on the outside. Take that monster hack. Take that monster swing a couple times in this game. Maybe steal a touchdown or 2 in this game, as it's bound to be a tight one. This Panther defense is bound to be pretty tough in order to find any kind of points in it, especially touchdowns. We'll see if the Hawks can do it, if they can find the time that Geno's going to need for those routes to develop. But it'd be nice if those were to open up, Geno were to be able to attack, because that is a place where I see the Panthers having some vulnerability. Those are my 4 keys to our Seattle Seahawks coming out with the win in this football game. We'll see if it can happen. We'll see if they can pull it off. Let's see what you guys think about my 4 keys, and if you think I'm onto something, or if there was one maybe I was missing out on. But I think you put these 4 together, I think you're coming out with a win. Dalton comes out of this game with 150 passing yards. You're able to limit these edges to maybe only like a sack throughout the course of a game. You're not allowing them to run the ball. I mean, that alone pretty much takes you to a point of victory. If you're able to get a couple of those shot plays in there as well, just as a final thing, I think that just puts you definitely over the top. But these are my keys. This is what I think it will take, and hopefully our Seattle Seahawks can come out with a win and start to reclaim a little bit back of our home field advantage. It's been a place that's been struggling as of recently, oddly. Let's see if we can maybe pull that back a little bit now. I want to thank so very much the sponsor of this show tonight. You know who that's going to be? Underdog Fantasy. They have chosen to sponsor the Hawks Nest here throughout this upcoming season, as they are kindly enough to do so. And so I want to give them a little bit of love tonight with a special stream pointed their way here, as if you do use my code right now, you get 100% of your first deposit matched on me, $100, up to $100 on me, first deposit with Underdog Fantasy right now. If you use my code NEST, or you can just click down in the description. I've got the link also set up down there. They've got a very little interesting thing going on right now. I just want to highlight quickly before we get over to the chat with you guys. And that is right now they've got $100,000 $100,000. I don't know how you say it. $100,000 Sundays. Let's call it that. One entry is all it takes. You get a pick every week. You go higher or lower on that basic pick. Last week it was Tua Tagovailoa, where they give you a certain amount of yards. Is he going to throw for over 270, under 270? You pick up over. You're in the sweepstakes. If it were this week, they've got a cool one where it's Tyreek Hill. You know that Jalen Waddle is down, so that you can get on the high. I would be going the high side on that one myself, as that would seem to be good money that they're going to be probably trying to feature Tyreek a little bit more with Jalen Waddle out due to concussion protocol. So do jump over there to Underdog Fantasy right now. I've got a current running pick'em game I'm on right now where I have Jerry Jeudy. You can see it over my right shoulder if you're looking here. I've got Jerry Jeudy going higher than 49.5 yards for receiving in a game this week. I think the second week back in action, I think that the Broncos are going to end up having to throw a decent amount against that Miami team. I've got Penny Pickett going for more than 222. I don't feel good about that one, but I thought, it's only 222. He could close his eyes in this league and throw for 220 yards, right? And then Jason Myers bounces back for our Hawks this week with more than 1.5 field goals made. That's how I have that one set up. I think he's getting 2 this week. I think we're going to have a hard time with this defense probably punching in at moments, but that we should be able to hit a couple of field goals. Isaiah Pacheco, who's been pretty good here for the Chiefs early on and very, very efficient with his runs, I think going over 55 yards. And then I've got to get all of these now to get my picks in for $400. But I also have Purdy in there for more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. I've already hit that one. It sucked to do that on a quarterback, but with them coming into that game with the Giants, I definitely saw that as definitely being a thing would happen. So I just need 4 more. 4 more, and I got a $400 winner on my hand. So shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the channel this year. I really do appreciate it. Again, link in the description over there. I think this is going to be a fun matchup tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit of that old hard-nosed style football, I think, at times, with the way this sets up, but it should be very interesting. We've gotten nothing super new as far as developments go. I know a couple guys signed here, a couple of guys signed there. It looks like probably Jamal's not playing this week. It would look like if I'm trying to read the tea leaves. We had a great Saturday of college football action that is still ongoing at this moment. I know the Huskies are absolutely bumbaclot. The Bumbaclot in California, 52-12 right now. And certainly the offense is looking every bit as explosive as they had. You had Cam Ward out there with WSU doing his thing out in that game, looking really good. Some scintillating action going on between Ohio State and Notre Dame. Notre Dame looked like they had them by the short and curlies. And then here comes Ohio State with a last-minute drive at the end of the day to carry it through. The quarterback made some big boy throws there at the end, which was very impressive from Ohio State, who hasn't looked quite maybe as strong this year. You had the FSU Clemson matchup with a lot of prospects out there on display. That would have been a good matchup to watch if you were able to catch it in your territory. It wasn't on my local television, unfortunately, as I was looking at the Miami game. But Tyler Van Dyke taking some steps forward. He's got a soft, doughy body, but the kid can play the game and made some good throws in that game as well. So a lot to talk about here. Quarterback prospects in general playing this college Saturday. We got a game tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think as far as those keys go. If you think maybe there's some extra ones I did miss. We are going to be doing a little bit of what I would call a little bit of short stream tonight. This is a special stream, so we're not going to be going super late. As we know, tomorrow I'm going to be probably in for a good 7, 8, 9 hour stream. And you guys know how that goes. I do want to put one little last note on to you guys over to you guys in the chat, and that is that tomorrow is going to be a weird stream schedule. So we're going to be streaming live. I'm going to be doing the game, but then I'm going to be going over to the Bleacher Report as soon as the game ends, doing a live 30-minute recap over there. And then I'm going to be bouncing back to the channel after that tomorrow for the post-game stream over here. So there'll be a little bit of a boom, 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 boom thing going on tomorrow. Just stick with me on that. But Bleacher Report was kind enough to reach out to me for another guest appearance over there. And we'll be doing it again on Bleacher Report the week after this next week too. So we might be getting a little bit of a repetition on this when I'm doing it this way with it. So prepare for a couple streams tomorrow, separate it out and all that type of stuff. Wanted to get this one out though on Saturday. Like I said, show a little bit of love to the sponsor as they've been kind enough to me. And also just to say what's up to you. See how you guys are doing. See what's what. See guys where your head's at. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. How you doing? Joshua Martin. Hello, Jeffrey O'Kelly, DVN. Joshua Martin. What's up, man? Huskies are going indeed crazy right now. Gabriel, go Dogs, go Hawks, go Cougs, go everybody. Megan Cockroger, my lady down under, has been a member of the Hawks Nest for 22 long months. She says, Ollie said, thank you for the shout out, Be my pleasure, Megan. And you do let him know. We'll get that call set up here fairly shortly on that. So my pleasure. I hope you guys are having a great morning, late morning, wherever it may be. Thanks for checking out the baseball stream earlier as well. Sean Lee says this Husky team could beat the Panthers. I don't know about that. I don't know. They're playing good, but I don't know. That might be a bit much. Nick says, hello there. I really hope that we don't let Dalton slice us up. If he beats us deep, then I guess. But even then, laughing out loud. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't feel great about Dalton slicing us up, but I can't have my cake and eat it too, right? I can from a strategy. Let me tell you something, folks, okay? It's about strategy. I can't from a strategy standpoint say, okay, I want you to tighten up the short stuff and take that away. And then I want you to take away the deep stuff. And then I want you to take away the trick plays. And then I want you to take away all the 4-yard run. You know, you get to that place as a fan where you start going, I want everything taken away. I want you to just be completely shut down. It's like, okay, genius, do you? Is that what you want? So I'm not getting to that realm of it. I would be, if Carroll was in the room with me, goes, okay, now we maybe are more vulnerable on the deep stuff. I go, okay, Coach Carroll, okay. You know, Andy Dalton's 4-1 against you in his career. I would reckon to guess that over the course of his career, the way that he has beaten you is not on the deep throws, but dinking and dunking you, really, right? Just getting the ball to his guys, short, intermediate routes. So if I go out, in my opinion on this one, Nick, if I come through the other end of this game and Andy Dalton has made 4 of those throws down the football field into tight windows deep with velocity, pushing the ball up the field, and he beats us like that in this game, and it's on the back of us also then at the same time actually squeezing down those short routes, I don't know if I can be mad at that. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not going to be as frustrated about it as I'm going to be, okay, you have a guy in Dalton coming into this game 4-1, probably all of those games, because we haven't changed defense over the time he's played you there, right? You can't go, well, back in 2014, we were playing more of a pressure-based zone blitz style defense. No, you weren't. You're playing soft zone coverages back then, right? So we can say with pretty good educated guess-wise, that's how he was doing it. So, hey, at least he's beat you a different way. That's my whole thing with this whole thing is just don't keep getting beat the same way, the same fashion, kind of by that same rhythm, that same dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. No, let's make him do a different rhythm. And if he does it, then hey, he pulled it off. Great. The 36-year-old found one magical game left in his arm to make it happen. But I'm going to trust that he's not going to be able to pull it off. I'm going to trust guys like Trey Brown and Witherspoon in coverage. Trey underrated a little bit in being a man guy. You know, he is a little undersized. You have bigger receivers in Thielen type here, Marshall type. Even a Mingo's kind of a big slot. So you've got some bigger guys on the outside in this game, you know, on those trust throws who could be a little challenging with it, but all the same, I think it's a pathway for success. And I do, like you said, I just don't want to have this, we walk out the end of this where we're saying, well, Dalton sliced us up. Oh, Lord. You know, especially because that's been a little bit of an issue for us already early on this season and what the quarterbacks have done. Wilbur Knight, I hope you're having a good night. Salute to you too, sir. Holy Hand Grenade, what's up, my man? How you doing? Snap Out of It says, hi, Brandon, Megan, Pumpkin. I just got a new kitten named Shiloh. She's so sweet. Oh, kittens are a lot of fun. The kittens are always fun. Puppies can get to that real high annoying state where you're like, okay, just lay down. Just lay the F down. I think we're done. Give it a rest. Are you ever going to nap? Kittens are they're always fun. I got Pumpkin over here right now. I'm trying to talk her into the cat tree, but so far she's being a little ground bound tonight. Ty Eager says, Tyson was everything. We were so much better. Yeah, I would not put Dalton as saying he was a big part of what helped them win that game. That would be for sure. He did enough to be proficient when he was out there. But it was really Taysom in the game-changing plays out there that helped make that happen. So it was not the same kind of affair of what you had back in 2019, where Dalton threw for 415 yards on your defense in the opening game of the season at home. Kelly says this late night stream is everything. I can't believe it. I got to keep you guys on your feet, on your heels a little, Kelly. You know, can't let you get comfortable and settled in on the dates. I got to mix it up a little bit. Ty says the Saints game was the most frustrating game last year, I thought. Certainly is going to be up in there. There was a couple games for me that stand out. It's hard for me on some of these a couple of those that are just like really frustrating for me. You know, Atlanta beating you at home, the Raiders being at home. But that was one. That one's not as hard for me on that one, Ty, I guess, because we were playing the Saints at 10 a.m. on the road. It did have some of those moments that were like highly frustrating moments. Taysom putting his licks in on you where you're like, okay, Taysom's going to beat us today. And your offense is doing kind of a little bit like what they were doing in Detroit, where they're putting up a lot of points. DK's got that one moment where there's like, I think a fumble, and then another moment where there was a catch that should have been a catch, but they didn't call it a catch. Geno made 2 of his best throws of the year in that game on deep throws. Yeah, it was a bad one, though. It was a tough one. Gemini Glass. Seahawks need to be more aggressive on offense and defense. That's what I'd love to see in this game. I'm okay if they're a little less aggressive offensively, if it's in the name of, hey, we got to protect our backup tackles. I think Waldron did an absolute awesome, as good a job as you could ask an offensive coordinator to deal with having 2 backup tackles in the game last week. And if it's not broke, I'm not telling them to fix it. It'd be great if they can find a couple more moments in there where they can take some of those deep shots. When looking at the All-22 tape, there were times and moments where Geno was diagnosing pre-snap, determining where he was going to go, and then went there with the ball. He's very smart about where he's going to go pre-snap. He's very smart about what's likely to be open post-snap. So it worked, and he was being productive within it. But there were some of those plays as well where you had DK in one-on-one opportunities, and Geno just never gets to him on the progression meter. And that's because they were trying to hone in on those short, quick passes and just getting the ball out of his hands, not holding it for too long, which is understandable. Again, I think it's hard to go against Carroll and the staff on this one to say, no, you need to just let it rip, let it ride, because you might get Geno killed if you do that. You know, you gotta have those protections in there a little bit. And we're going up against a different defense this week than what we faced with the Lions last week. Ty says, I feel K9 goes off tomorrow. It's possible. It's possible, Ty. Those edge rushers, as I was saying at the top, are not big guys on stopping the run right now. They're trying to go out there and get some sacks. Shaq out is certainly going to hinder them a little bit. And I think that there's a little bit more of an opening there than there's maybe been in recent seasons with Carolina to go after him in this area. They're pretty solid defensively, but I feel like Walker is about ready to blow. He's ran really well, and the stats haven't quite fully fit out to how well he's run. First game, you had to leave the running game. Second game, the Lions were committing so much to the stack boxes and stopping the run in lieu of letting the short passing attack of the Seahawks kind of flourish. I think he is getting ready to go. Nicholas says, Andy Dalton is a seasoned vet. He has IQ experience and an arm to be dangerous. That's it, man. I'm not taking him lightly. I'm not. I can't see how this team would be either coming in this game. I think from their standpoint, they'd probably say, hey, we would have liked to have rather faced Bryce Young with how he was looking. Guys, this is the first late night stream I can remember and so appreciate on the late night, Saturday night. Ha, ha, ha. I did them back in the day when we were first doing the streams. It used to be a Saturday night. I kind of moved them to weekdays. But, yeah, you know, I like doing a few late night. We'll do a little Hawks Nest after dark at some point. We'll get real dangerous at that point, Kelly. Ty says, we really need to Fant and Bobo involved also. Fant showed you why he can be a factor in the offense last week, didn't he, Ty? Especially as a big play tight end. And Bobo is certainly been impressive on the tape I've watched when you have asked him to run routes. You haven't asked him to do a lot of that. When he's out there, he's usually out there to block. But as we saw in the preseason, he's capable. Maze Guru, hi all. Did I miss much? You haven't missed anything, man. You're right on time. And yeah, James, I don't know, Matt James, trap game. It might be a trap game. I don't know if the team, you'd think the team after getting, supposedly, to me, James, after supposedly already getting hit in a trap game in the opening week, you'd hope not 2 weeks later, you're right back into a trap game mental state as far as being, susceptible to it. That would be disappointing to the team if they're right back there to kind of blame it on that. Mace says, I think we would have slaughtered the rookie quarterback, but Dalton is a way different animal. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like these quarterbacks at the end of their run with like that. Reminds me of that movie with Kevin Costner, The Perfect Game, where he's like he's the aging pitcher who's like not as good as he once was, and he learns it's going to be his last start. So he comes out there and he just like, he gives you everything he's got. He literally like tears his arm in half through the end of the game. Like by the end of the game, he's like tore his rotator by the end or something, the way they make it appear. And like, I just don't want that from Dalton. And we might get that game from Dalton. I hope not. And Gemini says, we need to put pressure on Dalton and force him to throw on the run out of the pocket. You can't let him sit back and get comfortable, to your point, Gemini. You can't let him be in rhythm back there, feeling good. That's what the short passing attack allows if you're into those soft zone coverages, is that the quarterback is often just like you would pitcher in baseball. You're letting them get into rhythm in a feel, and then it's over with. They're feeling good. They're feeling on time. They feel relaxed, and it's hard to now shake them out of that state. One way to do it is to force and put a little bit more pressure up front. And I would like to see that as too, Jim, and I would love to see it. You don't have to blitz 24/7, but last week, some of the best stuff you did, some of the best results you got last week were those moments where you drew up the pressure, where you got a little risky with it. And it's another one of those places like with Dalton, where I say if Dalton makes a money throw 45 yards down the field into a tight throw with some arm strength, okay. If a Seahawks team that has utterly refused to blitz, and then when it does blitz, finds tremendous amount of success and actually decides to incorporate some blitzing into this week, and that blitzing gets hit a little bit, it's not going to, I won't hit him. I won't, take him to task too hard for that. Be like, okay, well, you are trying a different strategy at that point. You didn't let him just do what you knew they comfortably wanted to do. You made it harder on them than what they would have wanted. So I will get, it'll make a little more sense to me that you allow that than versus letting him just ding dong, 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 ding dong. Matthew Phillips says, I really do think that if we can't pull out a win out now, that we are out of the season, maybe third in the division. It's a possibility here, Matthew. I think that there's got to be a sense of urgency right now when we're not looking at this season going, there's time. We'll get around to it. We'll eventually find our way. What was it? Still September? Call us in November. We'll turn it on then. I don't know if you have the time to do that. And to your point on that, Matthew, and you look at that back half of the schedule, Cowboys, Eagles, 49ers twice, and have got to go back against the Rams, which now suddenly looks like a way tougher game. Got to make some noise now early in the season. Got to create a little bit of breathing room. So if you lose to an Eagle team, you go, okay, well, it's the Eagles and sucks, but it is the Eagles. The season's still at the full end. We can still fully go out there and grab this thing. Versus getting that game and feeling like you have to be in a make or break it. If we don't win this Eagles game, it's just season's over. You don't want to be on that end of it. Versus looking right now, going into this Carolina game at home, backup quarterback. Carolina's down what I would say 2 of their top 4 defensive players coming into this game. Ty says, I think it'll either be a low scoring and close or a win 27-13 or so. I like it there, Ty. I like there. I'm like a 24-17, 24-19, 24-18. Something in that realm feels about right to me in this one. And somebody's asking about Woolen. I do believe Woolen is out in this game. Carter says, I don't want to jinx anything, but if Woolen was going to miss a game, this could be the one to miss. Panthers wide receiver core is one of the weakest in the league. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with them giving him a rest on it. It does sound like it's a kind of injury that'll help giving a week, and you don't want it to get worse. You don't want it to in feeling you got to force out of them. Your corner's position was supposed to be a deeper position on this squad. You do have Michael Jackson still there. Witherspoon's back in the mix now. Part of having that depth is being able to lean into it to where you want to give a guy a little bit more time from an injury standpoint to heal up and rest. Then it makes very much more sense to do that than it would be if, well, we've got 1 and 2 corners, but after that, it's fall off the cliff. I think it's good. Herbicide in the house. How you doing, Herb? Gemini Jamal Adams is indeed still out. Donald, where is everyone? I'm in Colorado Springs. Colorado loves Seattle. What's up, Donald? You know, I'm out here in Spokane. Colorado Springs, I have heard that's really nice. K-Jab, the short and curlies, Brandon? It's an old school phrase. It's an old school, got to bring out those old, don't forget I'm an old head at the end of the day. Megan, thank you for the $5 donation. I do appreciate it so much, Megan. She says 3 p.m. here, B, 17 hours ahead. Oh, okay. Nice, beautiful, sunshiny day down there, I bet. It's already gotten cold here, Megan. It's already like we feel like we're about a week away from winter here on the east side. But thank you for the $5 donation, and I hope you're having a good afternoon out there down under. Megan with another $2 donation says USC 24, Arizona State 21. Ooh, Arizona State hanging in there. It's 27-21. Ooh, there's a lot of time in that game left, Megan. That would not be good for Caleb Williams' Heisman hope. 16 to 25, 225. Still throwing for 9 yards of completion. So, I mean, can't bang on him too hard, right? But Arizona won't be able to pull. They'll come back down to earth in that game, Megan. USC will pull that one out. Thank you for the double donation, though. Wilbur Knight says if the defense doesn't play well, it was a waste of money. Yeah, I don't know if I can quite get there quite yet, Wilbur. I mean, once we get to the point of we've got Adams on the field, we're too close to the full strength of our team. I don't need to be full strength, but you still haven't had Witherspoon and Adams on the field at the same time. You could say as much as anything as those are your two of your biggest investments on the squad as it stands. So I would like to see them, and how the secondary looks with what coverages they run before I want to kind of come to that conclusion yet. But this would be a game that you would think, to your point on that your defense should have a bit of an advantage here. This is not a Carolina offense that even with Dalton instead of Bryce Young, there's a reason Bryce Young was playing bad on top of the fact that he's a young player. It's also because line hasn't pass protected well. They haven't run the ball particularly well. They don't have a lot of dynamic guys on the outside to challenge you. So Dalton is also inheriting that too. James, Zona State's making USC work for it. Yeah, they ain't giving it up quick. They didn't just drop the dress for you, Megan. They're doing the one strap down. They're like, hey, Caleb. Hey, do you like that bare shoulder? Huh? No, you're not getting more than that. No. Caleb's yanking at that dress as hard as he can. Ty says, by the way, it was a Detroit fan reacting. Ty says, cocky Lions fan was going off clowning on us hard, and I was just like laughing out loud like a psychic. Lions fans were just starting to feel themselves before that game. If they came out of that win, they were about to get really loud. You could just feel that fan base just about ready to, they hadn't yet bought the ski masks, but they had the ski masks on the cart, right? On the Instacart. It's like one more week and I'll do the ski mask. Mays Adams isn't playing, unfortunately. Raiders game was up there too. Yeah, Connor, I kind of go down the list on that. They all feel into the same range of it. I mean, Tampa Bay beating you in Germany, whatever. It's you going to Germany. You have to basically go to another place in the freaking solar system to go play that game. Okay, I get that one. But to lose at home to Falcons, Panthers, Raiders without Waller, without Hunter Renfrow. Mace is, I think, 17-21 or 21-24. I don't know who will win. Going to be close is my only prediction. I'm about the same place, man. Maze as you are. I got 24-18-ish, but we're right around the same place. Brendan Whitworth, the Raiders game was the most frustrating last year. I could see that being the one for someone. Very hard. K-Jeb says puppies are sweet. Bite your tongue. I do, K-Jeb. I like puppies. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those people that's a cat person but hates dogs. I love dogs too. But puppies can reach that state when you've got them especially young where they're a little bit like human babies where there's a bit of a need of constant just, don't kill yourself. Don't kill yourself. Don't kill yourself. Stop killing. Get over here. You trying to kill yourself? And you can't turn them off. I love puppies though. Puppies are, that's a sign of evil if you don't like puppies. Matthew says Bucs game made me angry last year. I get that one too. I do get it. Bucs do have a really good defense. And, Tom was able to do just enough. He's tough. And you're flying so far across the world to get to that game. It's middle of the year. I mean, that whole game traveling out there I think that was right where the team kind of got messed up. Gemini Glasses love the Boom upload. I'll have to go check it out, Gemini. I'll check it out off the stream. Ty says, can we get Bubba more involved? It'll be hard, Ty. I mean, you got a lot of fans out there clamoring to try to get JSN more involved. And there is only so many balls to go around, especially when you're going to limit the amount of passing snaps you try to undertake because you're trying to limit the amount of danger that you put your backup tackles in. And so it gets tough here. He is the fourth receiver on the roster. People want JSN going. This is having the embarrassment of riches. This is the tough thing with that. So I'd love to see it along with you. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if you can force it. I like what JSN's doing. We had a stat come out this week that he's creating the second most of yards per separation of route of any receiver in the sport. And you're barely able to kind of get him featured in here. So there's a lot of room even DK could probably get a couple more balls here now. I mean, you definitely could stand to kind of get a lot of guys more worked in, but there is only so many bowls to be had, especially if your defense ends up allowing a lot of drives and a lot of points, right? Because this is the other offset to that when you do that defensively is that you have these long drives. Another 12-play drive for the Rams. Another 14-play drive for the Rams. 9-play, 8-minute drive for the Los Angeles Rams. What does all that do? It shrinks down the game and it starts to limit the number of possessions over the course of a full game. And so that's the other part that's kind of impacted some of these guys like a JSN or Bobo getting some extra touches is you just haven't had the number of opportunities. Connor Witherspoon, first career interception this week. Ooh, I like that. I would guess he gets tested again. Receivers that haven't proved they can get consistently good separation this season. He made there a little bit, Connor. You may be right about that, where they test the rookie out. I certainly think like a double move. I wouldn't be shocked to see them try to run a double on Witherspoon this week. With his aggressiveness there as a corner after he got hit last week on the flea flicker as an offensive coordinator, I would definitely be dialing up one of those moments with Dalton, especially if I get him in a press look. Like, Dalton, you get him over there in a press look. Let's run a sluggo on him. Let's see if he tries to bite inside. But I like your prediction. JL says, I was excited to see Bryce. Kind of bummed he's not playing. I was looking forward to Jaron Reed snapping him like a twig. Well, it's those undersized quarterbacks. It's hard to stay healthy, man. Especially when you're about $185. Narc, Kelly says, I'm going straight to Cone and Steiner to get some candy after the game. I will actually be going with my friend and her boyfriend. They bought my ticket, but we'll be on the Panthers side. New views. Oh. They're Panther fans, Kelly? At least their fans are nice. I always hate other people's fans in our stadium. That makes me kind of throw up a little bit. I know I'm not saying that they shouldn't be allowed. I'm not saying just, you know. That's how it kind of makes me feel. Benelli says, this isn't a trap game. We're going to walk the dog with the Panthers. Woo! I like Benelli's confidence. Let's bring that energy. Let's go. Let's go, Benelli. Megan with another $2 donation says, I'm glad I don't have to be up at 1 a.m. Yeah, I'm just glad I don't have to be up at 1 a.m. Well, that's easy for me to do the 1 a.m. It's harder for me to do the 6, 7, 8. Those are the killer times for me. Like, we got those 10 a.m. games. I'm telling you what, I tried to get up early like last week. I tried to get up at 8. Still, once I started the stream, I know the voice like, oh, good morning. We got the Lions playing. It's early. Lions playing the Seahawks in Motown. That's after like 4 cups of coffee. I cannot do the morning person thing, Megan. I've tried. Dear God, I've tried. Ty says we were just so much better than the Saints and Falcons, and they just ran guys nonstop. Yeah, it wasn't elaborate what they were doing to us, which makes it all the worse, right, Ty? Is you have a team that you know is not as good as you from a talent standpoint. Their coaching shouldn't be as good as you, and yet they're just kind of doing one simple thing. It sort of gets frustrating. This is where I get to, last year was the run a little bit for the most part, but it's still that same sort of principle. You're a defense and you're getting attacked in this thing. It's hurting. You're feeling the pain. You can see the blood seeping from the wounds. And yet you do nothing to stem it. There is no tourniquets. There is no tying off. Instead, we just kind of keep letting it go. And that's when those can get ultimately the most frustrating as a fan, is you go, why are we doing nothing different? See what happens tomorrow, though. James Stradley says, do you think if either Curhan or Forsythe struggle, they bring in Peters? Oh, Jason Peters in. Took me a second. I think Jason Peters is definitely going to be active this week, James. He won't start, but yes, he will be your tackle in a glass. So Pete will be over there with one of those little tiny hammers that they use to break the glass when you have a fire alarm. And you're going to see Jason Peters over there encased in a human size in case of glass. And if Pete sees Curhan or Forsythe struggle, he's just going to walk over there and give it a little ding. And the whole thing will go, shh. And Peters will come out and be like, okay, I'm really not ready, Pete. I know, but they're not either. I mean, I just got off the couch. I know. What do you want? What do you want? I can't call a pass play right now. Okay, then. King Bomber, how's it going, man? Space, what's up? Ty says, appreciate the shout out. The Saints was so frustrating. Tied with Atlanta. We played so well everywhere, but we couldn't stop any run. No, we couldn't. And I'm with you, man. It's really at the heart of where I'm at with this defense right now. I can handle this defense failing. It's where I start to get a little red-lined when it's the defense fails in the same way or the same manner. And that's what those teams did. Be it the Carolina, the Raiders, or the Atlanta game. Those games played out all very, very similar from how your defense played to their offense. And there was no answers to kind of be had. Benelli says, I'm going to miss the game tomorrow, traveling to Prudhoe Bay. Prudhoe Bay for the next 2 weeks. Well, I hope you have a good time out at Prudhoe Bay. Hold on here. Where's Prudhoe Bay? Never heard of that place in my life. Prudhoe Bay. I hope you have a good time out. And oh my God. Oh my Lord. Folks. You're going up near the aliens, man. You need to go up to like the top of Alaska. No wonder I haven't heard of it, Benelli. Well, if you see any flying saucers, I want some pictures. Okay. Yowzer. I don't know what's up there, but I hope it's worth it. That's one of those like, that looks cold 24/7. Ooh. Prudhoe Bay. Ty, how much fun was we watch Spoon last week? Spoon was great, man. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. Especially for his first, I mean, the guy had no training camp really as far as to really be out there and play preseason games. That was his first action, and I thought he was absolutely on it and, showed you a lot of why he is the talent that he is at the position. Megan, it's straight the North Pole that man's going to. He's going to be like hanging with Santa in the bar. Holy hand grenade, ever notice Reek and Woolen are never on the same field at the same time? Yeah, we lose one. I know, that's the part I've been kind of lamenting this week too. Is like, man, I want to see what both these guys look at on the field at the same time, Like, I want to see what a quarterback's going to do with that. Especially now knowing that Witherspoon looks at least, reasonably legitimate. But not only the Husky offense is unreal. Oh, it is unreal. They've got so much to work with, and Penix is it's just the case with a lot of these college quarterbacks. He's right at the head of the list, though, just taking huge step forwards in their games this year. And improved arm strength, improved accuracy, and it was already good last year. It wasn't like it was bad last year, but it's stepping even more forward. The decision-making even stepping more forward. And his receivers with him on this. I think Odunzie is very possibly driving himself up into becoming the number 2 wide receiver taken in this draft, maybe. Number 2 or number 3 wide receiver taken in this draft, depending on how the season plays out. And McMillan, probably a second-round pick. So a lot of guys are improving their stock here with this performance. Thies is also love is getting too much hate. When this secondary gets, I'm so excited. Burns, by the way, looks like a dang stallion out there. Yeah, Brian Burns is a scary player. He's a good player. And I'm legit scared that the Niners at some point are going to make a trade for Brian Burns this season, by the way. You want one of my Hawks Nest hot take predictions? Like, the Niners have that money freed up this year right now, and I know they're in cap hell into future years, but they could make a move for a Brian Burns this year if the Panthers do go into tanky tank mode. And I would not be super happy about that. That would not make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Julian Love is maybe getting too much hate, Ty. Maybe. He's not being put in necessarily the right positions to succeed either. I think he was brought in because the Hawks saw a situation where they would have Jamal Adams at times as the strong safety and then Julian Love in the slot. And that would mean Julian Love would be playing a lot of man coverage situations. Instead, you've had to have him 24/7 out at the strong safety position. And so now he's playing more zone-based coverage situations. And that's not been to his strength. Don't think that that's what it was to his strength last year with the Giants. So it's something that will probably improve with time. This is where we come around to needing, from my standpoint, to wait to make a final determination about this secondary or defensive struggles until we get a chance to see the plan put into full effect. Okay, we've got Adams out there here. We've got Witherspoon out here. We got Tariq out there, and we've got Love down in the slot. I know that it's football. It's sometimes hard to keep all guys healthy, but something a little bit closer to getting to that than we've been necessarily. But we'll just have to track it, monitor it, see how it goes. Sack of Mucus says, late night stream. I kind of do a little after dark sessions here and there for you guys, mix it up. Megan says shorts and t-shirt weather. I'm definitely a little jealous. Usually we get a good summer at the end of summer in Pacific Northwest. September, great. Start of October, awesome. Then it turns. But man, it's already down into like the 50s here. John Catalano, thank you for the $10 donation, John. That is very kind of you. I really do appreciate it. And he says, I love your channel. Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. He says, this channel has been a huge add to my day for the last 2 years. A lot of lonely nights in the gym where I was listening to you or Brendan. Thank you, Brandon. Whoa, I really do appreciate that, John. That is very, very kind of you. I always say one of the places I love the thought of is just somebody either you're working out or you're doing your job or maybe you're studying for your class and you just got me in the background kind of going on. It's It warms my heart a bunch, John, because it's definitely the way that I've always consumed my podcast content in the past. Be it back in the days of just, you listen to Clayton back in the Saturday mornings, they used to be the go-to a lot of times for me just to be listening to that on replay, doing whatever, having that in the background. And I love it. I love it. And I really do appreciate that, man. I feel like we're really kind of humming along this year and everything's kind of grooved in the right spot, really finding our footing fully here as the channel and what we want to do and how we want to do it. And the community's been amazing. Support's been amazing. So I appreciate that, man. It's been a great year here. We're cooking along, and I couldn't ask for more. I really couldn't, John. Thank you. Justin Knapp, thank you for subscribing to the Hawks Nest channel. I do appreciate it so very much. And John, thank you again. That $10 donation. Young Bido, laughing out loud, Brandon the Goat. I appreciate that, Young Bido. Megan says, you think a dog is bad and wanting to kill themselves? You have to meet Ollie. Munich is too far away to fly for game B. Remind me what I did last year to see a USC game and Hawks game. Well, I hear you on that, Megan. But imagine you have to fly as far as you did, and then you had to go hit guys on a field 1,000,000 miles an hour on top of the flight. And it's like, I can understand if that person isn't necessarily in their most primed mental state to perform at max capacity. And indeed, kids are going to be tougher than puppies, but there's some times where puppies can compete. They can get a little competition in there when they're in one of their moods. You're good moods, Ace. Ty says D-line gets healthy, O-line gets right, which is soon. Secondary heals and gets before things get real tight in coverage. Loving the linebackers and offense gets only better. We could easily do something. We could, Ty. It could come together, man. I love the way you put that. Secondary just needs to heal up. Let's see how the full plan goes. Because once you got the full plan in place, you got Adams at strong safety, guy that can run a lot of man-based concepts. You got Julian down the slot, guy that can run a lot of man-based man-cover concepts. You have Devin Witherspoon now on the outside. Even last week, playing a lot of man coverage. Tariq Woolen, Coach Carroll, what did he say about him this offseason? Some of the best stuff he did last year was in his man-based moments. So now you got 4 guys on a football field, and you've not done that at any one given time in Coach Carroll's history here. When you get all of those guys on the field at once in that secondary, having that many man-based guys, you maybe been at most had 1, but to have that many guys on the field at once that can do that does open the door, you would think, to being much more creative in your blitz approaches, your pressure-based packages. Maybe I'm just dreaming here. Maybe I got my head in the clouds on this one, but it feels like 2 and 2 go together. Amazing that I got lazy 4 a.m. sleep, and as I need an hour for the coffee to kick in and be functional when you go live B. I'm usually pretty good, but if I'm tired, it's like the coffee definitely is a struggle to kick in, or I got to drink way more of it. Bryce Young shorter than Russ? Maybe Young will, I'm sorry, I was missing something when you were saying, Nicholas. I said it before, Young's not being able to make it in the NFL. Yeah, I just don't think so either. And I bet you he's probably, if he's not shorter than Russ, they're right about the same height. But Russ was at least thickly built so he could sustain stuff. He's kind of wide and he could handle some of the punishment. I just don't think Bryce is going to be able to. And I mean, here he is. I was saying it the other day on this, Nicholas, you had Russ and I know Russ was his own kind of special beast in this Iron Man way that he was built. But Russ went, 8-9 years before he missed his first game. And you have a guy in Bryce Young who I said back in the draft is going to get broke, too slight. Guy like that with that kind of body isn't going to hold up. And already now 2 games into his career, he's broke. Said the same thing about Matt Corral. Matt Corral couldn't even get out of preseason before he got busted. And now he's on to his second team. The size thing is something that we're going to be talking a lot about quarterbacks going into this next year because there's so many good ones coming out of college. But for the folks out there that are looking at some of these guys, you've got to put the build into your head a little bit of like, it does matter. I know there's Brock Purdy is, look at him. He's out there. Brock Purdy's already been broken though, hadn't he? Brock Purdy got broken by game 7, didn't he? So he's not really a shining example even on a guy like that of a guy that well, he's holding up out there. He's making it work for the slight guys, for the little people. Not quite. Not quite. Kyler Murray injured multiple times over as a slider guy. Even he's got a little bit of a kind of a somewhat thicker build, but even he's, nope. Too tiny. Where do the NBA guys go? And this is the move in the NBA court they're supposed to do. Too small. Too small. Ethan, hey Brandon, I'm not sure how much research or facts that can be sought out, but I think a really interesting video idea would be the effect of home field advantage has gone away over the years. It could be something that's interesting to do. I've been trying to find an angle, Ethan, to talk about the home field situation going on right now at Lumen over the past 5 or 6 years. And you've always got to be a little bit gentle in these videos where you're going to be coming at it from a standpoint of, I'm not exactly going to be positive here. So how do I find that? How do I find that ground to softly cross it without, raising too many rankles? But indeed, I think that would be an interesting video to look at NFL wise and specifically within Seattle, how it's been an effect to Seattle. May have to be an off-season video I go into more, but it is certainly now to where we're getting some data here. If you look back the last 6 years of Lumen Field just not being what it once was as far as a home field advantage, and NFL having this as a general issue league-wide, where winning on the road is just easier. And there's a lot into that probably. But I think it's an interesting topic. Thank you, man. Ty says Bobo's a tough guy in red zone. Yeah, he's a good red zone guy. That'd be the place to try to maybe feature him in or find a spot to work him into the offense. If you're looking for him to come outside of a blocker, is utilize him down there in the red zone with Geno. Let him run a little option route from the slot. That was what he did at UCLA. That was his bread and butter. Ty says, doesn't seem like JSN is all the way there. I don't know. Yeah, I can confirm that's not the case, Ty. And as always, to try to back up what I'll say with this, 8 targets and 11 catches. So he's catching the ball when you're throwing it his direction. Last week, you had a highly changed offense where you're going to run a lot more 2 and 3 tight end sets. And in running more 2 and 3 tight end sets, you're going to then remove at times your slot receiver from the field to accommodate those personnel packages. You also have the previous week there with Green Bay where he was, again, by about halfway into that game, the whole offense just basically fell apart. I don't know if that was on him as much as it was on kind of everybody. But the big stat that came out this week, and it's one that you can certainly explain a little bit with because some of the routes have created the separation for him, but he is creating right now the second most amount of separation per route, yards of separation per route of anybody in the NFL, of any wide receiver. I think he's 4th overall in the NFL, but he's second as the wide receiver, second most. So he's getting open. The all-22 backs this up that I've watched of him. There's just times where Geno's not yet looking to target him, but he's a young guy, and I do think he'll work his way into this offense. Justin Cooper, I submitted my Geno Smith and Jackson Smith autographs today for card grading. Nice. Justin Cooper, I'm triggered. Andy Dalton's still in the NFL. You know how this works, Justin, man. Those backups, they get that you're a solid backup label over the top of them, and that thing sticks. You ain't rubbing that off with alcohol. Both for good and bad, as Geno learned, right? Where it's good. You can be in the NFL for years. You might be in the NFL 15 years, but you ain't starting again. But you might be in the NFL for 15 years. Benelli, I'm a Boilermaker. I got to go weld for 2 weeks. They better be paying you to go up there. That's up there where the wild things roam. Hoy Hand Grenade might go into Wyoming, Montana this spring. Those are beautiful places to see in the spring. Nicholas, I've been in the North Pole in Alaska, B. Do you have some stories? Kashmir, like Yellowstone's awesome in the spring. All of Montana's awesome in the spring. But Yellowstone's cool. Yeah. Hard to beat Yellowstone. Three hours, the injury report from Friday, still the same for Sunday? Yeah, as I understand it. I believe that's the case. Dabney, I watched the Carolina Saints game. Carolina could be a handful as far as the defense. Do you think Frank Reich could get his first Carolina win versus Seattle? It's possible, Dabney. Carolina just came into our house last year and beat us with a roster that's very close to this roster. Instead of Sam Darnold, you have Andy Dalton. I think that's very much probably pretty close to just about a wash. Maybe a little bit worse, I guess, with Dalton being a little bit older. Maybe not quite as much arm strength or mobility as Darnold. But they do have maybe more of an improved offensive line from even where it was last year. So, yeah, it's a tough game. They've got the means to be able to attack where we maybe are. We've been better in stopping the run, but that was where we were weak last year. And the Panthers were just hammering it last year over and over again, and we couldn't do anything about it. So we'll see if they change that. I certainly don't think this is a runaway victory for us at home. I think it'll be tight. I think we come out with the win. But yeah, I think it's going to be a lot for us to deal with. And that Panther defense, you're right. I saw the same thing. They're stingy. They play tough. They're physical. They usually are going to control the line of scrimmage and not allow you to get much done in the run game, at least as far as up the middle especially. I mean, Brown is absolutely controlling Main Street down there. But maybe there's some room here to get to the edges. Maybe there's some room to run some fly sweep game, and to utilize a little bit of more of the lateral aspects of your offense, more than trying to just get it right up through the middle of things. But it'll be a tough game, Dabney. Tough game. It's going to be tight. Alexander, late night stream. This is normal. This is normal. Brandon doesn't start getting on fire till about now. That's right. This is just when I wake up. Vidor, what's up, man? Jo, rest in peace to the professor. Indeed, rest in peace to the professor. A legend, a Hall of Famer, and absolutely right to be so. Gone too soon. Ty Diggs is out. I don't think I've heard a confirmation he's out. I've heard that there's some uncertainty. But I would like to see Ty Jarek Reed in there if he is out. I would be interested to see how he could play it. Megan says, I have to say, it's Sunday afternoon streams at this time of the day are so perfect for me. Hell yeah, Megan. I'll get some more of these Saturday ones worked in throughout the course of this year, especially if I miss doing the Wednesday stream, as we kind of did this week. I got caught up trying to get a couple of uploads done. Soon. Who is in the slot tomorrow? JSN. With a little bit of smattering of Bobo when you're going to run. For the most part. Holy Hand Grenade. Can B show his other cat? Well, I will, but she's kind of like licking herself, looking all comfy. Xena. Let's see if I can bring her up here. That's how I call her. I don't know why. That's what she answers to. Come here. I don't want to force her. She wants to come, I'll do it. She's giving me the look like, I know you're live. You're not gonna pet me. Hi. You're always so shy. You want to come say hello? No. She's giving me the no. I'll try to grab her if she gets up. She's gonna think about it. She's gonna contemplate a little bit. Connor, did you see the catch from the Florida receiver today? I think that's probably going to be the catch of the year. We've already had some really great catches here. And maybe there'll be a pro one if we want to, that's the best college one. We'll have a best pro one. But that's going to be just the best catch of the year. The kid reaches back up over his head with one hand, basically does the Odell Beckham catch. He's not leaning back with it, but he's still doing a similar, just reaching back and up and basically plucking it with what looks like 3 fingers. And then he's got to reel it in absolutely insanely fast because he's getting clocked by 2 defenders at once as soon as he comes down to the ground. And he held on to the catch. I mean, that degree of difficulty, it's already just to make the catch with just to go and reel it in, to go, and then you're getting absolutely blasted backwards after the catch. If you haven't seen the highlight, it's worth go checking out. Florida State, what was it? No, it was the Florida receiver. I forget what his name is, but look up Florida receiver catch, Twitter, whatever, and you will prepare to be amazed. Seahawks Blue and Green got 2013 Seahawks. I can see that as well. I totally can see that. JL says, yeah, I miss listening to Clayton and Calabro chop it up. Me too. Me too. We had some great announcers come through here in our time. The guy I'm forgetting, the original Seahawks announcer, who I'm Gross. So you had Pete Gross. Rabel's been great. Dave Niehaus, right? And certainly Calabro was in that group, but unfortunately you had him right in his prime as Sonic's leaving town. Now he does kind of the national stuff. But yeah, it was always great to hear them talk and chop it up for sure. Soon, thank you for the $2 donation. Who is in the slot tomorrow? So I think it's JSN in the slot tomorrow, based on what I'm knowing, unless we're planning on not having DK not playing. I think even if DK were to not be playing as much, you would still then have Bobo on the outside as your X, and then you would still have JSN in the slot soon. I would estimate that that's how they would run it out. I can't imagine why they wouldn't go a different route with it. Thank you for the donation. Jay Stern with the $10 don't know. Thank you, Chase. Says, hello, Brandon. How are we feeling about this game? I'm optimistic, per usual. I love me some optimism, man. Nothing wrong with that. I am tentatively optimistic, or I am also pensively optimistic. So I liked the win last week. I think it was impressive. The specter of week 1 is still floating like Casper the freaking ghost behind my head a little bit here right now. Like, I may return again. I may come back again. Just wait. Right when you think you're comfortable. Right when you think you're good. Here I come. Ha 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 ha. Ah, ha, ha, ha. No! Get me a priest. But I'm optimistic. I got to feel like this team is got enough here with your brain to play. You're down a little bit, but you're not down a tremendous amount. Carolina's, to me, down more when you consider they lean on their defense, and 2 of their top 4 defensive players are out in this game. It doesn't mean now that the leg of their whole team is knocked out. Now they're weak defensively. It doesn't mean that now you're just going to go put up 30 points on them defensively, but now it means that there's just, here is your opening to take advantage of for me on this team. And then you got the backup quarterback in Dalton, who has limitations, and you can function around those limitations. So it does put me into a state of being optimistic, Chase. With that said, this Panther team did take us to us on the road, not 7 months ago, in a game we needed. It wasn't like that. We were kind of half in out. At that point, we had things locked up. We weren't really, we need that game. We were trying to get things done. So it does have me worried, but cautiously optimistic is how I would put that, Chase. I think that this, as I put at the top of this, I think that those 4 keys are really it. I think every game there's different keys in different spots. There's sometimes you're playing a certain team and it's very simplified. Do this one thing and you're going to win the game. Other teams, I think, in the better the teams, I think the more you need as far as keys in order to win them and beat them. The Cowboys game, the Eagles game, the Niner game, there's going to be way more keys than the 4 that I listed at the top of this show. But for this game in particular and coming into it in the matchup, don't let the backup quarterback beat you by throwing a 300-yard day where you let him throw 7-yard out routes all day. Right? Don't let him do that. Like you let Colt McCoy, like you let Marcus Mariota, like you let Taylor Heineke, like you let Nick Foles, like you let Teddy Bridgewater, like you let Jimmy Garoppolo multiple times over. Don't let them do what you let those guys do to you. Yeah. We're gonna let them take. We're gonna give them the little bit, but we're not giving them the deep stuff. We're giving them the short stuff. That doesn't work. It's not gonna be enough. Limit those A and B gap runs. Limit those heavy runs that Frank Reich at least was leaning into a lot with Indianapolis. I don't know if he's going to again lean into it here, Chase. I'm going a little bit off of his pedigree with Indianapolis and just liking those inside zone runs. Basically, he just loves that stuff. So limit those A and B gap runs, especially. 3, don't let the edge rush crush your offense. Keep Brian Burns and Yetur Gross-Matos from wrecking the game plan, essentially, by all of the means that you have to, incorporate in order to make that happen. And then challenge these corners, man. The corners are not as good. You don't have J.C. Horn, who I think was there last year, who intercepted you. You don't have Shaq Thompson, who's been a really solid linebacker for them throughout his career there in Carolina. Those are big losses for them. Take advantage of that. Go after that. And if you do those 4 things, to me, Chase, if we can zero in on those things, then I think that we can come out of this game with a W. Thank you though, man. Appreciate that donation. Nicholas Newton with a $5 says, yes, B, I saw Santa's workshop and his reindeer in July 2015. And Nicholas is saying that. Thank you for the $5, Nicholas. Nicholas saying that because he was up there in the North Pole. Well, if you're going to be up there, you better check it out, man. I mean, if you are going to go up there, you better go check out the center of the earth. Go see what's up to the aliens. See how Santa's doing. Drink with a couple of the elves, right? So, when in Rome, drink with Santa. Thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate that donation, man. And I'm sure you got some stories. I'm sure if you go up to the North Pole, you got a few stories to tell. Ski Nation, thank you for the 20. Holy goodness. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the $20 donation, Ski Nation. The $20 donation from Ski Nation. Coming out you, the Hawk Nation. Appreciate you for that $20 drop, brother. Very, very kind of you. He says we lost the home field advantage when the field got sold and stopped being called the clink. Clink is slang for prison. Teams were scared to play in a prison. Lumen sounds like a field with sunshine and butterflies. Rest in peace, Clink. I agree, Ski. I agree. It's like, hi, we're going to rechange our stadium name. Oh, yeah? Yeah. We know it used to be called the Rocky Puget Sound Shoals Stadium, but now we're going to go to Build-A-Bear Stadium. That's what the new name is going to be. What? Oh, I know before we were Eye of the Hawk Stadium, but now we're changing all that. What? Yeah. We're going to Tempur-Pedic Stadium. What? No. Yeah, they're giving us like $20 million for the naming rights. It's going to be hanging up there right over the top of the stadium. Big letters. Big ass letters. Oh. You're not wrong, maybe, Ski. I think there was always something to that. I've said it many times. I love the old names. I love the Riverfront Stadium, Candlestick Park, Fenway, Soldier Field. And we get freaking Pepperidge Farms Fields or whatever. I just, come on. I know it's a lot of money to turn down not to do the naming rights thing, but there's got to be a couple naming people coming into it. It's got a little bit of something more lumen. You ready to get intimidated? You ready to get your ass beat? Well, what you gonna do? Where am I gonna get my ass beat at? I'm gonna tell you where you're getting your ass beat. You're coming in this Sunday into Lumen. Really? I'm gonna get my ass beat in a place called Lumen. Yeah. Gonna be loud as hell. Really? You might be onto something there, Ski. You might be onto something with that, right close to the mark with that one, man. Thank you so much for that $20 donation, though. You are very kind for that drop. And maybe someday they'll come back. Maybe the new owner will come back like, it'll be Bezos, and he'll come back and he's like, he's got the FU money to the ultimate degree. So he's like, yeah, I don't care about naming rights. I want something badass. What do we got? That'd be cool. That'd be a power move. That'd be a big time power move. Thank you, man, for that donation, though. I appreciate you. Justin Cooper says, before home field crowd noise was based upon faith that our team will someday be great. During a time we couldn't say we were. Now it's being held at a standard of past achievements. If not being met equals no noise, which is the start of producing fair weather fans. I think that that's potentially something that could be opened up to that happening there, Justin. Yeah, with that, that's one of the downsides of what you can get from success, I guess, a little bit. I think there's a bit of maybe a part of that there to that. It is weird though when you get into like, well, it's 11, 10 years ago and you're still kind of riding in that lane as a fan if that is where they're at. But it's where I think it does come down to kind of a complicated answer as to what's causing it. That there's part of that's into it, I think. There's the ticket prices going through the roof. There's the crackdown on probably the more livelier elements in the stadium that helped you used to make it so loud, but certainly it isn't quite as loud in there. I think those are valid points, though. Justin says backup quarterback's the best job in the world pay-wise. It is. What is Chase Daniels is that shining example. Guy's made like $50 million in his career, and he started like 7 games. Not bad. Hell, we did it with one here. Matt Flynn. 1 game, throws 6 touchdowns, gets a $24 million deal. It's not the bad. ASU's still alive. I got to go check on this game. Hold on. See if Megan's going to have her heart broken with USC. USC's got it. 42-28. Did Washington finally stop beating the living hell out of Cal? I mean, they were just being mean with it. They're beating on Cal like Cal owed them money. You guys, we got this one a while. 59-32. Goodness. Space, if you ever come to the Cove, let me know. I'll take you there. Nice. Hell yeah. Sunzu would like to see the new tight end get some reps tomorrow. He just might. You're going to need to go to those tight end sets to help out those tackles. So it does sound like it's touch or go if Disley's really going to be able to go. Sounding like likely not. Connor says Derek Brown ragdolling Lindstrom in the Falcons game was crazy. He's got that just insane, like strong, literally strong as an ox strength from the inside. There's some few defensive tackles in the sport that really got that. It ain't first step quickness. That ain't the name of his game. He's just a powerhouse. I mean, he's just way too strong. Way too strong and way too powerful. You can't move him off the ball. Double team blocks. He's the kind of defensive tackle that can handle double team blocks and be just immovable. He's a big part of what helps makes that Panthers defense go because of that. Jack Wilson, do we need to send Brendan oxygen if the Hawks lose? I don't know, maybe. I'm sure he'll be pretty up in arms if they did. In utero, we were spoiled with announcers in Seattle. We were. There's some cities that have had some, I know fan bases are like, we don't like our announcers. We've had some really good ones. And guys that all had their own little signature technique and style that set them apart from anybody else. Calabro, you can hear his voice on YouTube channels that are just basketball channels that are like openings, and he's part of a cut and you hear his deal in there just because he had such a signature voice. And Niehaus with that kind of gravelly kind of deal that he has. Rabel's got the clean kind of more industry standard sort of thing going there with it a little bit. Dabney says, I don't want to call this a must win, but we can't afford to go 1-2. Just can't happen. I think it's a good way of putting it. I mean, it's not maybe at a must-win point, but it's a highly important game to grab. You have the few weeks setting up here as we look, and we have a potential here without getting too overconfident in how I talk about this because it's early in the season. We just don't know what this team's going to quite be yet. But you have room right now to go get some things done. You got a bye coming up to get yourself fully rested and get as many of your guys back to get basically at your best health by the time you come off that bye. But you've also got some opponents that are a little bit weakened that you can go after and take advantage of here on the schedule in this early part. Now's the time to make that hay. We'll see if they do. Justin, the one thing I'd like to see us getting to the quarterback more often, got to see consistent pressure on Andy Dalton to win. Indeed, even if you got to manufacture that pressure, Justin. Matthew, I think the Ravens are going to go 6-0 and then end the season with 9 or 10 wins and 1 and out of the playoffs. It's possible. It's possible. I still think they've been strong, but I'm still reticent to think that this new offense with Lamar is really going to work over the course of the season. We'll see. We'll see with that. But I'm with you. I think they'll put a lot of wins up. I don't think they're going to be the team to make noise in the playoffs, though. Ty says, by the way, man, thanks for all the love. I'd drop you a 20, but got a glitch in the matrix right now. Thanks for being live tonight, feeling it. Thank you, Ty. Man, it's all good. I get people that lament that don't have it. No worries. We're in a crazy market across the globe as it stands. Everything's a little tight across the board for all of us, so I totally understand that. And if you're hitting the like button, if you're subbed on up, you're doing tremendously right by me. I feel great by that. So if you're doing that, that's really all I truly do ask for. But I appreciate that, Ty, and some great comments, questions coming from you in the chat as well. I appreciate your perspective on this stuff. And you're right, Justin, we got to get Dalton uncomfortable. I mean, that's my thing with not letting him dink and dunk you to death is you drop into soft zones, you rush a front four, you bring no blitzes. He drops back then, and he's got a 5-man protection to deal with your 4. He's got a variety of routes to go through. He's got his smart IQ acumen as an elder quarterback to lean back upon in order to be like, okay, I know pretty much where I can go with this ball where there is going to be opening there short. So you got to take that away, and you got to make him uncomfortable. And last week, I mean, I pointed out in my breakdown of the post-game discussion, where you looked at those 3 plays in that game that probably loomed the largest for you defensively. The 4th and 2 stop, the sack by Trey Brown, and the pick 6 by Trey Brown. And all of those things happened on the back of you giving a pressure-based look. All of them did. And or blitzing. And so it's hard for me not to have the coaching staff going through the film last week and seeing that and seeing how still you lean back a lot of times still into the soft zone stuff where, hey, we found some success with this. Let's go back to that. Kelly, rest in peace, T-Jack. Indeed, rest in peace, T-Jack. Dabney says, believe it or not, I feel Bryce Young is a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. I mean, maybe long term he could be that way, Dabney. I think the game is a little much for him right now. And I think he's looking like a typical rookie quarterback where he doesn't have necessarily a ton to work with offensively on that team. And the game's looking really hard for him. The field's looking really compressed for him. I just don't think it's going to be in the same place with Dalton. I'm not saying I think Dalton's a game breaker, but Dabney, we've had these quarterbacks kind of like I led through at the top of the show. You've had a good, over the last 4 years, 15, 16 quarterbacks that are passing deficient, have some issues and actually letting it rip, who come out and just tear your defense up a bit from a secondary standpoint, and easily done so in a lot of those games because they will play within themselves. And I don't know if Bryce Young's gotten to the place where he understands how to even play within himself. The game's fast, furious, and he's just trying to kind of keep his head above water when he's playing right now. So it's a little bit worse for me on that one. Not that it would be an easy win with Young, but I'm worried about this. We've seen this kind of game come down in recent years a few times, and I am a little bit worried on it. Paul Allen Stadium. I could go for Paul Allen Stadium, actually. That makes sense. The bean counter, too much violence in games lately. Yeah, there's a lot of fistfights breaking out of games. I'm glad that we haven't had a Seahawks moment like some of these fan bases where you have like guys on the same fan that are fans of the same teams getting in fights in the sea. Like, what are you guys doing? I mean, I don't advocate for fighting with just other opposition fans either, but I mean, it's even less understandable when it's fans of the same jersey type. So I don't know. It is weird that these fans are having it happen. And yeah, not a good look. There's been some tough moments. Hell, I think a guy got killed, didn't he? A fan got hit and put out, and just not worth it. Not necessary. What are we doing this for, right? Ty says, didn't we go 3 straight years like 3-6 and then 9-5 and 3-9? I want to see JSN snag a deep one. I'm not sure on that. Are you meaning home record? Because we used to only get the 8 games at home. We've only had the 9 games here and there in recent years. Jason Duder says, except that Bezos is 100% about marketing, guaranteed this Amazon field or some crap. Prime field. You're not wrong, Jason. I'm a, what do they call it? Just hopeful dreamer, man. Matthew, statistically, teams with more fair weather fans perform better. Oh, that's interesting. Now, how do you determine which fan bases have more fair weather fans? Alexander says, soft zone Pete needs to hire his brother to run the D pistol Pete. Pistol Pete would be the hell of a D coordinator. Man, the Pit says, I'd rather Amazon Field than X Field. Yeah, I would too. X Field would be lame. Amazon Field sounds like a boxing match in the jungle. Kind of does. It sort of works a little bit. Better than Lumen. Cameron Robinson, what's up, B and 12s? Good to see you on. I'm just popping in to say hi. Go Hawks, and let's get a W. Have a good night. And all y'all, Hawks for life. Hawks for life. Megan with a $5 donation. Thank you, Megan, for that donation. Says, fight on always, B. In Lincoln, I trust. You guys look like you're pulling it out. Caleb found his footing. Good on you. That would have been a very embarrassing loss. But Caleb found 322 yards, keeps himself right there in Heisman discussion. Arizona got you guys nervous, though, Megan. They got you a little nervous there. It's going to be a good college season here. There's been some good games already, which is rare for college football. Thank you, though, Megan, for all the donations tonight. I appreciate you. Jason Tudor with the $2 donation says, just got in. Score prediction for tomorrow. I'm going to go with 24-18. I think the Hawks offense consistently gets the ball moving up the field. It does have some moments of settling for some field goals rather than touchdowns. I know it's an odd score, so maybe it's 24-17. You know, it could be something like that too. But I think you can get a touchdown victory here at home. I don't think the team's going to overlook this team. I think Dalton, and maybe I'm just thinking again, is that empty dreamer thing. This applies here too, where, no, this will be the week Coach Carroll decides he's not going to let the short stuff, beat him. This is the week he's not going to let a backup quarterback throw for 330 on him. And I hope it is. And this is the week where it's well suited and set up to do so, because you don't have those killers on, those guys on the outside that are going to, rip it up. And there's some more opening here to be able to take advantage of that. But yeah, I'm gonna tentatively, I'm gonna say 24-17. But they're gonna make us nervous, Jason. It's not gonna be an easy one. It's probably gonna have to be down to like the fourth quarter before we're able to really finally pull away, I think, in this one. Panthers are 0-2. You're going to get a fight from them where they're not just laying down for you. They're trying to salvage their season. They're trying to bring something out of this. So, you're not just getting their kind of, light punch sort of application here. But thank you for the donation, man, and appreciate you jumping on in. Jeffrey Thistle, thank you for the $5 donation. And it's good to see you in here as well, Jason. Jeffrey, he says, rather play against Young. Red Rifle makes me nervous, dinking and dunking down the field. Brandon, Pete lets quarterbacks do. I know I'm not the only one on this, Jeffrey, and I know you're in the same camp and you're feeling on this too. This is just, we've seen too much evidence of it. That's where we come down to stuff. What breeds a fear? What gets you to a place of not feeling comfortable about a game or a situation when you've seen something happen time and time again in a certain way? And the formula is that we get a backup quarterback type, or we get a quarterback who's limited in their arm strength. And they're a quarterback who knows themselves. They know they're limited. They know the throws they can't make. They know that they're not very mobile, which is also tends to be a commonality of this. And so they will play within themselves. And this whole Coach Carroll defense, just to remind us on this, the defense is predicated upon quarterbacks getting impatient, getting to a place where I want to take a shot. I've been sitting here taking the check down 6 all day. I've been sitting here taking the 8-yard stop route all day. I've been taking the 7-yard slant route all day. I want to let it rip. I want to let the big dogs hunt. And then when they do, you got your guys in coverage to take advantage of that. But modern offenses don't do that as much, which means now when you get a quarterback playing within themselves, they're really most especially not going to try to make those throws. So you very often could end up with your coverage playing to depth, playing to throws, playing to covering areas that the offenses aren't really truly trying to attack. That's my worry about coming into this game right now, like it is with you, Jeffrey. That's why as well I like the thought of Bryce Young, who there are throws that he can't see to throw short, in my opinion. There are throws where he's going to not have the viewpoint to be able to hit him in a way like a guy like Dalton will be able to, where now I don't have to worry about as much about Bryce dinking and dunking me, And that's, to me, where that would have been an easier matchup for us. But we'll see how it goes here against the Red Rifle. See if we can maybe finally now on this time facing him, find the way to take the ammo out of that gun. No more powder. Get his what's that little stabby stick that they put in the top of the musket rifles back in the day? I'm going to take that away from him too. I appreciate you though, Jeffrey. Thank you so very, very much. Megan with another $2 donation says, undefeated baby! USC marches on. USC marches on with Caleb Williams taking the nation by storm on the back of the explosive Lincoln Riley offense. Who will step forward to stop this team as they look to be one of the most prolific offenses we have seen in college football history? Thank you, Megan. Appreciate the donation. Alexander's got us winning by 9-19, but that damn redheaded, you never know. You never know with the redheads, man. They're a very, very dodgy bunch. Hard to pin down. Lost Souls, Ancient Treasure, says if we score more than Carolina, we probably win. Well said. Gibson, I have tempered expectations, but the next 2 weeks are winnable games. First Carolina and New York. It will be a good gauge of where we are at, but 3-1 sounds good. 3-1 indeed. That's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it? 3-1. Got a little bit of a ring to it. A nice little, yeah, that fits. That works. I like it too, man. We got to do it now. If we got hopes this year of being a contender, now's the time to go. You can still go out and get yourself in the playoffs and the loss after this week. You can still have some time to find some footing to be at your best strength. But if we're really going to make noise in the playoffs, if we got to hope to get to the first round bye, if we got to hope to be up there in the likes of the Eagles and Niners, you got to start putting a team together that can compete. And that Niner team looked far ahead of us this past week with what we saw from them in the Giants. Thaddeus Texton, Boye Mafia indeed, I believe, is playing. King Bomber, there's that one Ravens announcer that I hate listening to. There's a few bad ones out there. And I hope we see more of the 13 personnel in this game. It worked really well last week. I think you will. Some of this might be limited a little bit, though, in utero by if Will Disley doesn't play. Well, now you're going to want to go to more of the 12 than the 13 because you don't trust your third tight end as much as you do when Will's in there. That could push a little bit of that. Space says Mafi's out for tomorrow. My bad. I take that back. It sounds like Mafi's out. And Mike Morris will be out as well. Jeffrey says this game is going to be miles harder than people think. It might. It's kind of a back and forth in the chat tonight, Jeffrey. There's been some that have been like with me on it where I think this is tight. I think it's going to be a hard fought game. I think it's going to have us nervous as hell. Heart attack Hawks. Typical heart attack Hawks. Taking 35 days off of my life, one game at a time. Ken Ruiz. Hello, Hawks Nest. What's up, Ken? How you doing? The bean counter. Every game this year is going to be hard. I don't know, bean counter. Maybe I'm being overconfident, but those Cardinal games, I don't know. I know Gannon's got him playing plucky and tough right now, but let's see where the Cardinals really land. And yeah, the week 5 bye is going to be strangely helpful for a space. We got a lot of guys that are going to benefit from, I think, just having that extra week. Even if Jamal comes back for the Giants game to play a little bit on a snap count, then you give him an extra week to kind of heal off, or not heal, but just kind of rest the body after that first game of action before he comes back. You would have you'd have McIntosh back, the running back by that point. You start to get your tackles back into the flux. By that point, you're getting closer to maybe an Eskridge for whatever he brings back down the line, and Young. Yeah. Tariq Woolen. Quite a few back by that point. Justin says, I think the Niners are looking how we are supposed to be with our roster in their prime. Once we get all developed and chemistry with our players start cooking, we will look a lot like them. Probably, yeah. And I agree, man. They are rolling, and they were very impressive against that Giants team. I'm sure you guys all saw the shot there of Daniel Jones where they get the shot of him from behind center, and he looks like he's going to cry. Like, look at my eyes right. There's literally a shot of Daniel Jones you can look up on YouTube if you want. Just Google Daniel Jones is going to cry against the Niners, and he's making this face. So watch me on my face here. You go, ooh. Are we a little overwhelmed out there, Daniel? Matthew says, to be honest, Brandon, I don't remember the studies, so I don't remember their methodology. All right. Jeffrey said, I tried to warn the people about the M's. They always let us down. Jeffrey says, I love how the M's went on a huge run to give people false hope at the end. Classic M's. It is a little bit of what they contend to do, Jeffrey, and it's a frustrating team. I saw this coming a little bit down you fooled me enough times as a Mariners fan that you saw mid-year as they're kind of still finding their way. They're like, it's not going to count this year. We're still probably about a year out, and I'd love to see them turn around as we go forward. I'm not to have to complain. There's still a chance, right? But they need some help offensively, man. They really do. King Bomber says, no way, laughing out loud, 30-27, 3 touchdowns minimum for the Panthers. I could see it. Defense hasn't stopped a lot of anybody to begin things, that's for sure. Connors is 27-14. I think more optimistic than some other people. It would be nice to have a convincing win the week the Super Bowl team is around. Yeah, agreed. I certainly would take a comfortable win. I'll tell you that. David M. The Astros have been even less impressive. It's a mid-off between them and the Mariners. Who wants it least? Yeah, exactly. I mean, Mariners came into September after doing all they did in August. You did all this work. And then, you've come into September and you're just kind of pittering out. I think some of it, too, is the pitching staff's tired. Bullpen's been probably overused. You've had a bunch of starting pitchers go down to start. Not a bunch, but enough starting pitchers go down to injury. You've had to lean on the starters you do have. The hitting has been what it's been throughout pretty much the whole year. And it's feast or famine, home runs or nothing. And it's kind of just it kind of makes them what they are as a team and where they are as a team right now. And there's work to be done this offseason. And hopefully one Mr. Shohei is at the forefront of what they're going to hopefully try to get things done with. In utero, J.C. Horn is out tomorrow. That is correct. Space, do you think they'll flop like at the home opener or will they use it as fuel? I think they're more in fuel state than flop state or overlook state space. Well, Andy Dalton starts. Carolina Panthers, 0-2. Well, maybe we're going to overlook them. I think coming so soon on the heels of that Rams affair, I don't think that the team is going to be as likely to fall to having that overlook thing happen here. I think they're going to take the Panthers very seriously. I know that they're going to get a very, very hungry Panther team, I would estimate. Brian Kennicott, great stream as usual, sir. Thank you, Brian. Prepared for an unnecessarily close game tomorrow. Hawks win by 4. This is about right where I'm at with it, Brian. 24-17 or 24-20. I just feels it's going to be one of those, just like, to me, just we're punching, they're punching, we're taking hits, we're landing a few shots. It's going to get tight down into the end. We just kind of finally get down at the end of the other side. But yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one. Justin, I do actually see Seattle having a lot of what the F moments for us tomorrow. Carolina's 0-2 after all. That typically gives a team that extra push to cause trouble. It does, as we've seen at times in the NFL, when a team's got what it feels like it's back up against the wall, and you're starting 0-2, and it feels, if it's not back up against the wall, you're getting close to that stage of things. So you're going to get their best punch. You're going to get them, a little bit more in that, we got to make something happen here. And certainly you're going to get their best effort, I guess is the way I should put it. Ken Ruiz says, I pray, Justin, the Seahawks have no mercy. Kick ass at home. I love it. Let's go, Ken. Alexander, we need to blitz more than 2 times, especially this week. We blitz more. I think Andy will throw us a few picks. We get burned over the top, then so be it. This is my thought process too, Alexander. You're taking the words right out of my mouth from the start of the stream. If he does that to us, if he happens to throw 4 big boy throws over the top into a tight space, having to hit deep down the football field as you've got pressure right up in his kitchen, in his grill, so be it. We lose that way. They score that way. Okay, I can rest on that and go, I didn't expect Andy had that left in his 36-year-old arm and body. But I don't think he's going to do that if you do that. And yeah, it requires more pressure to get that done. I think if you just try to trust your front four to make it happen against this Panther offensive line, which is not amazing offensive line, but you got to do more than the front four. And Saints showed last week with some of their pressure-based packages that you can overwhelm this line with those kind of blitz looks. Justin, as soon as we get Dalton to feel he can't trust his line, then we win all day. The rest of our team will beat out everything else. Agreed, Justin. Agreed. Keep him out of rhythm. Keep him uncomfortable. Keep him worried about the blitz and where it's coming from. And that's the state of mind you want to keep Dalton into, as opposed to allowing him to get comfortable with some easy completions to begin things as you slide back into soft zone. And then now he's in that rhythm. Now he's rolling. And then you're running your 4-man fronts. That's just, it's going to be very hard to, you might still win the game running that. And that is the Seahawks way a little bit on what they want to run with these fronts this year, it looks like. But I think there's a different path to go here. Megan with the $2 donation. Thank you, Megan, for that donation. She says, B, Mr. Cosell on USC and Lincoln. The USC program has been sitting in anonymity, finding itself amongst the dregs of not merely the NCAA college football, but also within the Pac-12. They have been rarely viewed as top of the rung, struggling to find recruits, struggling to locate those 5-star epistles that once proliferated a program of such prominence. Now, one Lincoln Riley enters the town like one young, plucky Coach Carroll of 20 years ago. And again, this team finds themselves rising on the back of a golden arm quarterback, much like Carson Palmer showed us back in 2001. Can the USC Trojans compete with those Southern dogs out in Georgia, or are they merely a peach to be stripped by the skin come playoff time? Us one announcer over here is looking with a steady eye to see how they will hold up. Thank you, Megan, for that donation. I appreciate you. Zord76 coming in with a big $20 donation. Thank you, Zorn, for that dono, man. I really do appreciate that. Very kind of you, sir. Very, very kind indeed. He says Seattle, 30. Panthers, 16. I love it, man. Let's go, Zorn. Let's go, brother. He says, go Hawks. I'm going to give you a big go Hawks to that one. I love the confidence on that. I would love to see a game like that. A nice, good 2-touchdown win. Just put our hands behind our back early fourth quarter. Wouldn't that feel good? I could go for one of those. I don't need a heart attack Hawk game this week. Okay? I understand sometimes if that's what it takes to get the win. I'll do the heart attack if that's what it takes. My arm will go stiff. My left arm will go stiff if that's what's necessary here. But a 2-touchdown win sounds nicer. Sounds more easier. Sounds like a nice, just gentle Sunday afternoon stroll to a 2-touchdown victory. I don't know if it's going to be a stroll, but I'd like to see a stroll. That's what I'm saying, Zorn76. But thank you for that $20 donation, brother. Very, very kind of you. And I hope you know I do appreciate it so much. I hope your prediction is right. And if it is, I'm going to give you credit, man. Give you a shout out tomorrow. But now ESPN just put out a report. Jamal isn't going to play tomorrow. That is correct. No Jamal tomorrow. No Boye Mafe. No Mike Morris. David M. sounds like an old Chuck Knox press conference. The team that scores the most points is going to win the game. That's pretty much it. Back in the day when the coaches really gave you no sound bites. Ty says story. From there, then you gave guys, give guys a ride to Seattle, drop them off, then go back. Lost my fave Hawks hat. Got it, and then watched my new car 16-inch TV and got the value bills go. Streets for a week. There were some words left out in that one, Ty. Justin, if Disley's out, I have no doubt Fant, Colvin, Parkinson are enough to suffice. Me too. And then you have, this is why you have JSN, is you can also slide into some more 3 wide receiver looks as well. The Knicks Realist says, Giants fan popping in. The Seahawks will whoop our ass. Don't worry. Hang in there, brother. Hang in there, man. The confidence is a little low on your side of it, and I get it. It wasn't the best of performances this past week, but early, still young in the year, and you do still have a lot of talent on that Giants team. And I'll tell you this: you're going to give us a hell of a fight. It is not going to be any game where we could be sitting on our side so far, Knicks Realist, and being like, yeah, we're doing so good, we're just going to steamroll. We're still figuring out who we are too. We're still in that where we think we might be pretty decent. Let's give it a little bit of time. But you don't know, man. Maybe. It was tough. It was tough last week. Really would have liked to have seen Daniel Jones at times push a little bit more of the ball up the football field. Would have liked to have seen them, they blitzed a lot in that game, did the Giants. But it was those 5-man pressure looks, Nick Realist. This is my issue with it. It's like, well, we blitzed half the game. Yeah, you went with the 5-man pressure looks on Purdy. When I talk about blitzing Purdy, I'm talking about being a 6-7-man blitz. Because when you bring that 5, all you're doing is just stacking up man for man with their offensive line. They've got a 5-man group. You're hitting them with a 5-man group. And if they've got a back, they've still got an extra guy to chip Kayvon Thibodeau. But that's what the Giants went in with those 5-man pressure looks and then dropped everything to depth with their coverage and then just got picked apart for the most part by Purdy. I know he had a couple of throws down the field, but just, that's why I come back to there's a chance you guys still could be everything, can still come back around to where you guys closer to what you thought in the offseason because you are without Saquon, and it was a little bit more of the coaching choices in that game than it was the players. And David M., I agree. We are going to miss Disley's blocking. I mean, he's been like the highest graded player by PFF at the tight end position this season in the NFL. A big part of that's his blocking ability. As a pass protector especially. Noah Fant does not give you the pass protection snap help like Disley can. Disley could take on like an edge. And I don't think Parkinson can either. That is a place you do lose that's a big loss with Disley out. Daniel, if Disley's out, could Bobo play as a tight end? He's a good blocker and has the size. I don't think so quite as much on that, no. Maybe they try. Maybe they do a little bit of it, but I wouldn't think that they would. Maggie says, the Cards games are the only ones I'm not worried about. Every other game is a migraine and panic attack inducing. At this point, probably, yeah. A little closer to that. KJ says, didn't we pick up another tight end that's supposedly a good blocker? Yep. The kid from Philadelphia that's going to be will be the active guy on the roster this week. Blocking is supposed to be his forte, so maybe he's good at it too. I would think with him being so new to the team that they would probably limit his snaps a little bit, but I could be wrong on that, especially with the help that you're going to need to the tackle position. The Knicks Realist, I'm a Giants fan. Daniel Jones always looking like that. Oh my God. It's like he's got to go check out Eli Manning's poker face. As bad as Eli's resting face could be, that's worse. And the telecast, Knicks Realist, it did him so dirty because the telecast goes right up here. Right up here on his face. The guy's eyes are like this. He's looking freaked out. It's like, I get why the quarterbacks like a Geno would go to the black visor. Like, yeah, the black visor, you can't see what I'm looking like under there. Tyler says, to be clear, car was stolen after driving them for 10 hours straight. That was the car matchups a bit ago. Oh, damn. You got your car stolen? I'm sorry, man. Oh, that's a crazy story. I was thinking more of a supernatural story up in the north. You went with a stolen story. Zoran, if the Seahawks can't beat a rookie starter, then there will be a new panic 12. I think you're getting Dalton in this game, man. Zorn. If we can't beat a number 2 starter, is what you were saying. I was gonna say, yeah, because we're getting the backup. Ken says, coming to you from Fresno, California, born in Seattle in 1962, been a Seahawks fan from the beginning. Almost called the Seattle Fairies. Oh, God, that would have been bad. Or Sea Lions, not much better. Go Hawks. I'm glad we went with the Hawks. Fairies would have been... No, it's not with an... It's spelled with an E. I don't know. No. We do not need to be that. And Zorn 76, yeah, you're right. I mean, if a number 2 starter does beat the 12s here in this game, it'll be, I don't know if it'd be panic, Zorn. I think a little bit of the fan base in certain respects on this has kind of had it happen in recent years enough times to where it's like, it sucks. They'll be mad about it. But it won't be as much a shocker like it would be for, I think, other teams. I hope to God it doesn't happen. They should come away with the win. I love your confidence. KJ says, I'm a firm believer that any team can win any given game. There we go. Zorn 76, have you heard of Jim Zorn by chance? That was the Scooby-Doo clue. Oh, you're speaking to someone in the chat, sorry. Ty says, how about UI at C. Brown at right guard? Uli at center and C. Brown at right guard. And I have the strong feeling Levi Bell is such a stud in and out. Let's give him a try. Maybe. I think that they're going to probably roll with what they got, though. Phil Haynes has not played particularly well for you at right guard. I think they like what they got out of Brown at center, though. Justin, yes, we want Dalton struggling to remember the play because he's too worried about taking a painful hit. Amen. Grand Eyes here, Brandon, the Hawks Nest. Hope all is well. It's great, man. How you doing? Listening to the Susie and the Banshees, Dazzle 1984. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Hope you're doing well out there, man. 4th and go, Joe. Kenneth Walker III has 200-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, and completely decimates the Panther defense. I love it, Joe. Let's go. Somebody else was saying that they thought he'd do for a breakout game here, so let's see it happen. Ken says, I miss Howard Cosell. I do too, man. He was an original. I'll probably at some point do a play-by-play game as Howard Cosell the whole game. Yeah. 3rd and 6 from the 25. Let us see if the Seattle Seahawks can bestow us with a rarity in this given contest. A first down. Probably gets super toxic though. Howard was a little toxic on some of his stuff with that, so I drifted that way. Cosell was great. One of my few mid impressions. Joe, aloha Brandon, aloha Megalodon. Good to see you guys. Sorry for all the name changes. Trying to make my YouTube channel perfect, like the Hawks Nest. Brandon, you're my idol. Go Hawks. Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate that, man. And hey, the name matters. It's a big factor. You got to pick the right one. It's very important. It's where it begins with a channel. So you're right to spend some time and turn it over a little bit. ADL Williams, not sure if you talked about this already, but what is your opinion of the downfall of the Pac-12 and where do you think Wazoo and Oregon State will end up? I think Wazoo and Oregon State end up in the Big 10, 25-ish, whatever they're calling the big thing now, where Washington and the rest are going to. I think it's inevitable that they go there as well. In my opinion, the Pac-12 was really the day the Pac-12 got its lights taken out was the day that it decided to do its own little private network. And you couldn't watch it on just regular cable. I've got to just buy this like special package to see the games. It was ridiculous of them to go that route. They restricted their product. They restricted the number of eyeballs that could see their product. And this was at the same time as those programs out there in the South and in the Big Ten were rising to prominence. And I think that was kind of their death. That was the death knell for them. And so I do think Oregon State Wazoo end up over on the other side of things here. And I do think that this was the bad decision making in the way they did this. And I would have this problem at times in the NFL when they would have like, wait and sell at the stadiums. Now we'll have blackout games. It's like you want your product seen by all the people in the local region. It's not a good thing to be, restricting that. It doesn't help you. And it's kind of like, well, the whales that are spending the money on the subscriptions will outweigh that. And like, no, they won't. No, they won't. And it'd be like me going to my channel of just, I'm going to go only members only can watch my videos. That wouldn't be very smart, would it? Like nobody but a member could see my videos. And that's a little bit of like what I think the UW did in their approach. And it didn't work. Didn't work. Justin, no heart attack Hawks. Would love to see a showcase of multiple players across the roster making strong and confirming plays. That'd be encouraging. Megan with another $5 donation. Thank you, Megan. She says, heading out, B. We'll see you all tomorrow. And my prediction, 2017, fight on always. Hey, fight on always. Go Hawks, Megan. Congrats to your UCSC Trojans as well. And I like your prediction. You know, I'm right in that path. I'm pretty close to that same area. So I think we're pretty much closely looking alive. We got some folks with some confidence out there. That's good to see. But I think everyone thinks this is going to be a bit of a tough kind of fight, struggle. I appreciate you though, Megan, for all those donations tonight. And we'll be seeing you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Hoodie Jube is on in the house, my resident Saints man. And folks, do sub up over there to Hoodie Jube. He's got a great Saints channel on his side of it. You know, we'll be eventually probably coming back our way around to the Saints again here soon, Hoodie. We didn't meet up last year, I don't think. I think we got up things too late. We should have met up on that game for last year. But good of you guys to get a win out there. You're finding your foot in there with Carr. Hopefully showed us some things that we can utilize in this upcoming matchup as a way to get after this Carolina team. Hoodie with a $5 donation, and I do appreciate that. It says, let's go Seahawks and let's go Saints. Go Hawks and who dat? Who dat think they beat them Saints? Who dat? Who dat? Great lives like always. Keep up the amazing work. Well, thank you so very, very, very much, Hoodie. I really do appreciate that donation. You've been a member of the channel as well on top of that. So thank you for all of that support as you do. Again, folks, do get subbed up over the Hoodie. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe on up, but you help the channel out. Hoodie's out there grinding and doing great content out there down there in Nolans. I like to say it that way, Hoodie. I prefer saying it that way. But I hope you guys make some noise this year. You know, you took some real aggressive moves, man. We've talked about this, man, a couple years ago that your Saints team just never gets to that spot of we're going to turn this over. We're going to get to a rebuild year. You know, even my Hawks last year went to that. Okay, we're going to rebuild this. You know, we're going to get this back to a refreshed ground. You know. And you love it in one angle of it, that you've got an organization that's always going for it, and every year is putting their foot in and being like, nope, we're aggressively going to try to make something happen. But then at the same point in time, you're like, yeah, but you know, every year do we have to be 60, 70 million over the cap? And I know Loomis just runs his cap that way, but you know, it was the thing we talked about a couple of years ago. I still come up to my mind a little bit in watching the Saints. But with that said, there's a lot of talent on that team. And Carr still kind of figuring things out and finding his way. And Allen showed you with that defensive performance there against the Panthers last week that, you know, he's still one hell of a defensive coach. Brian Breezy looking good for you guys. Clemson kid. But thank you for that donation. I do appreciate it. For the go, Joe says Deion Sanders' Colorado press conference after he got whopped is hilarious. He was so mad, he didn't even know what to say. Yeah. You could feel definitely the emotions were coming out of him as far as he was doing a good job of keep not saying anything wild, but you could tell that there was smoke coming out of his ears. And Oregon gave it to him. They brought that stuff on themselves, though. They're stomping on the logo on the midfield. Like, what do you think that's going to cause? You guys aren't quite good enough as a program to get to that state of doing that sort of disrespectful stuff and thinking it's going to hold up. Ty, I think we can calm down soon and start playing even keel. Just got to get healthy. Carr will be fighting, but I see a real beatdown. Dalton gets picked while we run over. I love it, man. Let's get it. Let's go. Arturo, go Hawks. Ruiz says Mariners game starts at 11:35. Do we watch them later? I'll probably watch just the recap on tomorrow's game of that, Ken, because I'll be so deep in football, and I like watching the early games, doing the red zone thing early on, so I'll just be locked in that. I'll be watching the score and whatnot. But they're gonna have to play this kind of perfect coming through the rest of this season here. They've got maybe they can lose maybe one or twice more if they're really hoping to get in the playoffs. It's getting more longer shot. Holy hand grenade, you have yourself a great night, man. Thank you for tuning on in. Joe says, very nice. Huskies got the best offense on the West Coast, though. They do. They do indeed. Daniel, Ferries would have been the absolute worst as a pro team to be named that. I mean, Packers got it rough being the Packers, right? There's a couple of tough ones out there, but whoo-wee. Whoo-wee. In utero, most of the country heard about John Lennon's death from Howard Cosell. Indeed. I've seen that bit. Kind of a surreal moment. Daniel, it's week 3 and Saturday night is feeling like Christmas Eve every week. My morning of summer is a lot easier with the NFL. Oh, it is indeed. I love NFL, man. I mean, like I said, I look forward to getting my mornings, and you just got the coffee going and the early morning games, and you're watching the red zones, and you're checking stuff out. You get a little live to your fantasy and your game, hawk game coming up later, and it's tremendous. Using Arturo says, well done to Oregon for beating those arrogant clowns from Colorado. They gave it to him. It's a good Oregon team too, man. They're putting one of a lot of teams out there in this college landscape that's playing really well. Gibson says, I could see Wazoo and Oregon State going to the MAC as well, MWC, which would sadly be a downgrade. Good win by the Cougs today, by the way. Very good win. Yeah, the Cougs were very impressive today in that victory. And boy, Cameron Ward, much like Penix, he's quietly doing it, as Penix is doing it real loudly, but he's certainly elevating his draft stock with each of these performances. And that's maybe the likelihood. You got to figure at some point or another, Gibson, that the Big Ten is going to be like, okay, they're the bar that's like, our capacity was 25 and they're at like 50. They're going, okay, look, the fire inspector is going to be in here. We can't keep going. It's too much. You can't come in here. Your program's in Pullman. Sorry. That's the way it's got to be. Phoebe Moore, Seahawks, please tell me you're streaming for another hour. I'm late. I don't know if we're going to go another hour. I got to cut down short a bit tonight. I got keep in mind on game days tomorrow, we're going to be doing 2 streams tomorrow. I got to go over to the Bleacher Report, and then I'm going to have to do a post-game wrap-up video. So like tomorrow, I don't get to bed till 5 in the morning. So tonight I got to be in bed at a good time, because tomorrow's the D-Day of my week. And it's not a bad thing, but it's like, it's going to be hard I got to be fresh. Fresh as a daisy. Eating Wheaties. If they take a big stinking crap in their pants, Panthers could show up. They could, man. They're not going to give it to us. This ain't just like we just walk in our own. We're at home and we're just going to moonwalk our way to victory. No, and no. You're going to have to legitimately bring it if you're going to win this game. Even more Seahawks. Once Anthony Bradford develops next year, I'm calling it Seahawks top 5 offensive line. He very well might. And he's got some potential to get there. He was the funnest offensive lineman to watch in preseason. And that was with a guy not well graded by PFF. Just fun. Just brutalizing people. Absolutely playing mean. So mean. Ken says NFL Red 1 channel is all needed Sunday. No commercials. A man's dream come true. Best invention ever. Oh, Red Zone was like, it's next to the wheel and electricity as far as one of the great inventions of our time. It's not been fully appreciated, but it's so fun of a way just to warm up on football in the morning. It's just tremendous. It really is. Bless the man that came up with that concept. Bless him. Jason Tudor, what's Pumpkin looking at? She's looking at this, it's my little thing that I put in my little Starbucks cup, and she likes me to fight her. Let's go. You want some of this? How about that? What do you think about that? Take that. Oh, got you. Yeah. Oh, get you. Oh no. Oh no. We sometimes got to go to war. I got to keep her tough. He just likes to chew on it. He just wants to chew on it. Jose, are you any of you planning on getting an autograph from Cam next month at Mill Creek? If anybody does, tell Cam he's got to come over to the Hawks Nest. Tell him to accept the invite. And I love Red Zone. I play it on TV and watch live games on my phone at the same time. Nice. It's a good way of doing it. It's a real good way of doing it. That might be how I do it tomorrow. Phoebe Moore Seahawks, welcome to the Hawks Nest Ring of Honor. As a member of the Hawks Nest, you can join Phoebe Moore Legos on the membership. We got PFF scores I publish out to members of the channel. We've been doing, and we will continue to be doing, Thursday night football streams for members of the channel. So join up with Phoebe Moore Seahawks to get there. But thank you, Phoebe Moore Seahawks, for becoming a member on the channel. Appreciate it. Seems how I use sportive, aka Doofu Sports. I never heard of that. She says, come on, pumpkin, cat bat that stuff. Yeah, she's low energy right now. Look at her. She's letting me. She's tough. I can't get her to go. She was too busy napping, I guess. What can I do? She wants to come up here and lay like a baby on my shoulder. That's what she's giving me the look for. I know that look. No baby time right now. Ty says, got to say this is great. Moved out of the state. Never had time to catch up on Hawks info. This is like therapy, brother. I appreciate that, Ty. I really, really do, man. And I love hearing it. That's definitely would be a goal here. Would be just, we're kind of low key, chilled out here, most of the time, unless I'm on some rant or I'm on one of my anger rolls. Usually we're just pretty chill here with it. We love talking Hawks, ADL Williams, Cam's doing a Mill Creek signing. Would be great to add onto my ball with Sherman, Baldwin, Wagner I got from 2012. There you go, man. Keep those autos coming on that. Jose and Utero Pros would do Eatin' Wheaties. I don't know, that's a mouthful for me. Sports Grid on YouTube is an incredible alternative to ESPN or declining Fox Sports. I might have to check it out too myself. I've been doing the FUBU thing, which has been working okay. Stephen A. Smith can't even throw out a first pitch. I'll tell you, if you get tasked with throwing out a first pitch, you need to go work on your throw game. Because if you get embarrassed as a celebrity throwing out that first pitch, that thing sticks to you forever. And here's Stephen A. Smith. Here's Stephen throwing a first pitch out 3 years ago. What was going on there? You can't comfortably go up to the bump and throw it for the bump if you can't got the arm strength to get it there, which he didn't have. If even more Legos, you probably already broke it down, but may you simplify T's Tabor if you can? Yeah, he's a backup coverage safety. What you did last year, he was here last year and he was playing games when you got lean and light at corner. And what you would do is you would have him intermix in at the strong safety position. So what you would do is you would have Jonathan Abram would be in there if you thought it was going to be a rundown where you needed Jonathan Abram as a tackler, and Tease Tabor would be in there if you had him in there in coverage situations. And so you would kind of split between the two of them over the course of a game when you got, no Jamal Adams, and you'd had a couple games there, I think, where Ryan Neal was out. So you were down to that third, fourth corner, right? So that kind of is the role that they would probably be trying to look into him. Like if Love can at least play the snaps and run defense and then maybe coverage stuff, they would have Tease out there a little bit. I don't know if that's what they're looking to do, but that's my guess to it. King, Brandon, any update on Kenny McIntosh? No updates as of yet. My thinking on this is that being that we're through now 3 weeks and he's not yet active, that they probably just wait through the bye. Also because they have the three running backs that are healthy on the forefront of this. Being you've got right now Walker in good health, Charbonnet in good health, Dallas in good health. If one of those two guys or two of those three guys were maybe pressed a little bit, maybe that would push Kenny's situation up a bit faster and quicker, but they have time on their side a little bit here and depth on their side here a little bit. So you just probably end up giving him all the way through to the bye. It's a 4 to 6 week injury. If I haven't gotten confirmation on what he had happen, but I think it's probably like a torn MCL. That's a 4 to 6 weeker. And if that's the case, then you can get him back right around that time you come off the bye would be right about perfect. A little bit more, actually. He's giving him a little bit more time, but why not? King Bomber, Jarek Reed, and Tease Tabor is going to be rough. It might be. It might be. It certainly is a downgrade if those are your combinations of, that's the combination of what you're running out there. And it does speak to the fact they don't have Kobe Bryant, with a lot of faith in him running out as a safety as well. But I mean, you get down to your third, fourth safeties on football teams. This is kind of what it looks like. Ken, have you ever got angry here doing a Seahawks game, like that stupid interception in the Super Bowl? Yes. Yeah. I've got plenty of ugly moments where I lost a lot of professionalism and got in my feelings, and I'm not proud about it. Okay, it's not my brightest moments, but it's the thing I do have to remind people that sometimes get on me a little bit if I happen to get a little negative, is that indeed I am a fan like everyone else. I am just as have a tendency of being drawn into my feelings as much as any other fan that is super, into the team. I do a pretty good job, and I've got to be honest with you. The weird thing for me is that doing the play-by-plays freed me up now to where I'm not as emotional. When I'd watch it from home and I'd just be watching it quietly, I get almost a little more angry. Now I'm able to keep a little more even keel doing that. So that's actually helped me. But I've had a couple. Handful, okay, a dozen, okay, a couple dozen, okay, 6 or 7 dozen moments over 4 years. But that's not, it's one every couple shows. Yeah. In utero, Brandon, can you do your Christopher Walken? I got a fever and the only prescription is more Bobo. Yeah, of course. I got you, man. I got you. I'm watching football now a lot. Sundays, Mondays, and sometimes Thursdays too. It's good. Good game. Great sport. A lot of hitting. Hard. All the time. Why they got to hit so hard? I don't know. It's a ball, but they hit. You tell me. I don't know why, but I know one thing really well. Too good, in fact. And that is, I know the best receiver coming up. No one knows who he is. I know. I see him. He's clear. His name's Bobo. Jake. Bobo. He's going to be a good player in this league. He hits hard. He's a blocker all the time. It's what he does. I don't know. He's just good at it. I watch him a lot. But I just ask one thing. Carol, Pete, Coach, could you now please for me more Bobo, please? I'll get the cowbell if you need. I'll bring it out, but I just want more of him, Bobo, now. Walking's a little off tonight. A.D.L. Williams, I went to the Mariners game with my third grade class in 1996, and my hard-ass Vietnam vet teacher threw out the first pitch. The ball landed halfway to the plate and rolled to the catcher. Yeah, you get that one opportunity in life to do that. I mean, I would be prepping. I'd be one of those guys. I've been like, yeah, I've been soft tossing the ball with the homie for the last couple weeks. I'd come out there. I've already got it planned if I ever did in the Mariners Stadium. So if I threw out the first pitch, I'm coming out. Number one, glove. I will try to dress up in a full Mariners out thing. I ain't just coming out there in my civvies, right? And then it's going to be Randy Johnson. Okay. I'm going to have the big fat glove like Randy did. Okay. Opened up like this, right? Eyes, just the eyeballs over the top of the glove. Like that's all you can see. And I'll even be giving like a mad look. Like I'm trying to stare down the hitter, as tough guy as I can get. It's not very tough, but and then I'm going in and it's going to be a real wind up. Like it's a big full meal deal wind up. And then I'm dropping old Uncle Charlie. Like I'm going to try to impress that guy behind the plate. He's like, who's this dipstick going to throw this ball in? And then he's getting a pure 12-6 on his ass. And he's like, then he looks over at that. Then he looks over the dog. He's like, he just threw that with a hook. And it's going to put it right down in the middle of the plate. That's how you throw out a first pitch. So some GD respect for the game. Kobe Bryant's out too. Okay. The turf toe claims another. These players are just going to have to start Ronnie Lawton this thing, man. Just cut it off. Just cut it off. Cool breeze. Mariners game had me fighting with my lover, but I'm back. It happens, man. Dab Trinot. What's your opinion on Jamal Adams' situation and how he still hasn't played this season? I think it was very tough to know exactly what the timetable was going to be like upon his return. This is one of the more major injuries you can have from a lower-legged environment. And you could say it's even worse than an ACL. I think the team is going to take they're taking a very conservative approach here, Dab Trinot, because on top of being a major injury, they've also had a hard time getting this guy through a full season. And so there's a little bit of these kind of things add up to us making this decision. We want to give him the extra time for the healing to be maximized and give him as much time as we feel like we can get away with giving him in order to allow him to heal and get right. So, there's that part of it. And then I think there's also a little bit of let's condense down this schedule. Let's have Jamal Adams play 15 games, 14 games. And now we have him for the playoffs. Now, instead of when we maybe get to the playoffs and him being done, he's actually ready to roll, still feeling strong, still feeling good. And as opposed to a couple of years ago, we got the playoffs and he was kind of just a shell of himself at that point with the multitude of injuries he was dealing with, finger, groin, shoulder. So I think that's what's educating their decision here, Dab or not. This is also why you got Julian Love, is that you thought that you would be able to buy a little of insurance time with the bringing in of Julian Love, so Jamal wouldn't be rushed back. But I think it's all of that kind of coalescing around the reasoning of why it's going that way. But I don't think it's a lost cause as of yet. As far as this is it, this is a determination that Jamal's all been lost. The value of him's been lost. There's not a chance he could reclaim some status here this season. I think that's still in play here. And if Jamal goes out and gives you 12 games of top-notch play from the safety position, then I think we're all going to still feel encouraged about that with him going into the future. But we'll see how he plays. We'll see how he looks. That's also the part of this too, Dab Trinot, is I wonder is he back to full speed? Is he out there on the practice field and, these players are running with these GPS units on them, tracking their speed, and the coaching staff's looking at those speed numbers and they're like, oh, crap, he's lost 2 miles per hour out there running around. I don't know. Matthew says the Super Bowl taught me to hate the Pats and Brady. Me too. Me too. Eden says we're fans. We have feelings. We do, man. We all fall prey to it. Losing to an opposing team in the Super Bowl doesn't make me hate them. Losing the way we did to the Steelers makes me hate them. Yeah, that's a fair way of putting it. Phoebe Moore Seahawks, what jersey you rocking with on Sunday? Me, Kenneth Walker. I won't have a jersey this week. I only bring out I only got technically a Largent jersey. I need to go get another jersey, but I only have the Largent jersey technically. And I only bring that out for select games where we need a dub because it's a powerful jersey. It's got like 1,000 shaman have put that energy together on that jersey. You don't abuse that. And so got to maximize its power for just the right weeks. And so this week I'll just be wearing a regular old shirt. Eaton says Mariners could avoid a sweep. Let's see who's on the bump. They could. Neutero, that was great, Brandon. Thank you, Neutero. Throwback says Bobo the Pedestrian 2.0. That's right. Ty, one thing about the last week, really quickly, Montgomery destroying himself while Brooks held his leg was crazy. If we don't go down with the missed kicks mixed in, I think we're 0-2. If he didn't go down with missed kicks mixed in, I think we're 0-2. It's a good possibility there. Yeah, there's a good possibility there. And he was seemingly doing that thing that some running backs can do, Ty, where they get stronger as the game goes along. Kind of started to feel like that was going to be the case there with Montgomery. So it's a good point. It's a really good point. Jose says, hey, can y'all stop buying Wagner's throwback jersey? Because I need one. Can the team just start making more? It's so maddening that they've only we're only going to make a select number. People are going to buy this stuff. Make more now. And they've known for weeks and months now that people want more. So restock this thing. Come on. And it's going to be a tough order for Young Woo, Eden. I mean, that Rangers lineup, there is no place to breathe. There's no place to go, okay, I'm into the 7th hole hitter. I can kind of rest a second here now. No way. And anyone seen the video of 9 guys sitting down at an M's game dressed up in full gear like the 95 team? It's funny. I hadn't. I'll check that out. And yeah, Eden, the Rangers are locked in, man. They are. Cool Breeze, liver, not lover. Okay, that makes way more sense. Dabtronaut says, thanks for the insight. My pleasure, Dabtronaut. Thanks for checking out, hanging in the channel tonight. Cool Breeze, Rangers not even that locked in. Mariners just that bad right now. Yeah, we're just not playing good football. That is as much. It's hard to say where one starts and the other ends. A bit. He says, oh yeah, I see it that way now too. Yep. Thanks, Cool Breeze. Just gonna see what they can do. We're running out of attempts, Mariners. You gotta get it done now, or rest your case. Speak now, or forever rest your case. Ty says, Bobo's so tough. Have you noticed how he looks like a maniac, a magician, or cadaver every time he's tackled? A mannequin or a cadaver every time he's tackled. I hadn't looked out for that, but I'll look for it now. He is a tough guy, though. He is a tough guy, and you've got to lot him because there's undrafted rookie free agents. I mentioned in the video of him with Baldwin doing this as well, and it's so true. It's just, you're an undrafted rookie free agents. There's a lot of these undrafted rookie free agent receivers that'll come through that are, they're not full divas, but they got that diva, well, I want to just be a receiver, And what you love about what you're seeing from Bubba that you had seen from Baldwin was you're seeing a real understanding of, I'm going to carve myself out a role in this team. I'm going to put a role here that's going to make it hard for you to take me off the field, much less cut me. I mean, Eskridge comes back, and with what this guy's bringing to play, I mean, he may not have any role. He may be in game day inactive at that time. And so I love what I'm seeing from Bobo, and it's so great. And it's not even him with what he's doing within the receiving side of it. That, I think, is as of yet to come. But, yeah, he's awesome. Robert says, Walken, Pacino, Nolte predictions for the Panthers game. I'll finish up on that one, Robert, as we get through the last couple of comments. We'll do a Walken, Pacino, Nolte combination because I got to save the voice, and tomorrow's going to be a crazy day. But I'll get on the final as we wrap up here. ADL Williams, hypothetically, if for some reason Jamal misses all season but comes back and contributes to one playoff win, then gets hurt and never plays with us again, will it be worth it? With what we gave up to get him? No. That would not be enough. Not close to enough. He comes back and plays a win, you get a playoff win, and he's going to come back and play for you again the next year, and he looks like he's back to maybe in full health. That's something, but no. Too many injuries up to this point. Daryl Seiler, Andy tore us a new one last year. Anyone worried of a repeat? He didn't really tear us one last year, Daryl. I mean, he threw for, I think, 150 yards in that game, which isn't a tremendous amount. And remember, Daryl, it was really Taysom Hill making those game-breaking plays, both with his legs and with even throwing the ball in that game, that allowed the Saints to kind of pull that one out. Dalton didn't play bad, but he certainly wasn't the same kind of level of play where he was in the 2019 season opener with the Bengals, where he threw for well over 400 yards against us. But I do think we're all, to your point on that, Daryl, we are worried. Everybody's a little bit worried on this one. Just a little bit. Alexander, I've given up on the M's. They're yo-yo up, yo-yo down way too much. It's frustrating. I get it, man. And I'm hoping to God they actually make some noise this offseason with making some signings or trades and really try to work to improve this lineup substantially. Not just a little bit, but substantially. All right, Robert, let me give you a walk-in Pacino prediction for the Panther game. This is often, if you guys are new to the channel, there's a couple of impressions I will try to take a run at here. Panthers come in to Lumen. They think they're going to steal from us. Take all game. I don't know why that red maniac thinks he's going to get the win. The answer is no. It's not going to happen. I see 2 touchdowns, lead, win, Seahawks. They're going to take it. It's too much for this Panther team. I don't like the color red as well. I've never had a use for it. Now don't as much as ever. So win Seattle. Al Pacino, what do you think going to happen tomorrow, Al? You tell me. Oh, I'm going to tell you what's going to go down tomorrow. The Seattle Seahawks are going to show you why they're the creme of the crop when it comes to the NFC. Look right now, coming down the pike. Here they are, ready to take hold, ready to do some damage. Now's the time, Seahawks. Today, here, now. Not tomorrow. Today, we're going to go get the win. 12-12, win now. Nick Nolte, what do you think's going to happen here? Nick, tell the fans who's going to win.
I don't care goddamn shit who's going to win this game. I don't even like football. Don't even ask me a question. I just got to win. I just want to get a drink and I just have to go day.
Nick doesn't have a lot of thoughts when it comes to this one, but Pacino, Walken, big time wins. Oh, it's going to be huge. Huge. It's like a great big ass, this win, and we're going to take it. Impression's a little off tonight. Cool Breeze, I might be home. I might be home in the chat. I might be out in the bar tomorrow. I might be late to the chat. Love you all. Take care. Sounds good. Cool Breeze. That was kind of a riddle. That was a riddle. And Alexander, I share your frustrations with the Mariners, man. I do. Roxanne in the house, dropping a $20 donation on your boy. Thank you for doing that, Roxanne. I really appreciate all of your support to the channel. She says, Brandon, burning the midnight oil. Great to open YouTube and see the Hawks Nest is live. Thanks for the content and hours of dedication to the Seahawks. Go Hawks. Well, Roxanne, thank you so very, very much. I appreciate that big time support on the channel. I really do. And I wanted to go live tonight. I have an idea for a show. Just do some of these. We might do this kind of maybe as a normal Saturday thing if you guys are feeling it. Just kind of pop in for a quick hour or two and just see what's up, you know. But thank you, Roxanne. I appreciate that donation, that support, as also as a member of the channel like you are. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. I saw your kind comment as well on the video there on Bobo. Well, thanks for that. Hope you're having a great night. Great night. Matthew says, go Hawks, by the way. Thanks for the stream. Thank you. Appreciate it. And yeah, it's got to be Ohtani at this point. Maybe Pete Alonso, maybe. I mean, Alonso doesn't get me as much enthralled. Whatever they do, they just got to commit. This is now going to be the second straight year where they're the most profitable team in all of baseball. You can't have a bottom third payroll when that's the reality of what your fans are doing at the gate. And to me, the Ohtani thing is, I know the lazy thing for a fan to say just, Ohtani, get Ohtani, get it. But it aligns up so well to go after him. And you got the money to spend. And I got to feel like it's at least somewhat sounds nice to him to come here too. Julio in the lineup for lineup protection. And a young up-and-coming team he doesn't have to carry on his back. A team that's even whether they get the playoffs or not this year, they're right there flirting in the playoffs the last couple of years. So there is some kind of consistency there too with it being a young team. Even though I know there's the up and down yo-yo thing, which is totally true. But you got to go spend money for the Mariners this offseason. You can't just sit there and pull your pockets inside out and look at the fans and shrug again and go, there just wasn't anybody to spend any money on. That's not how you win games. Yeah, actually, teams that spend money don't actually win. That's not going to fly at the fans. It's not going to fly at the fans. So let's figure it out. Cool Breeze, Hawks Nest Live when I open YouTube is a good feeling. Hell yeah, Cool Breeze. Hell yeah. Ohtani up. Ohtani up. You're close to Japan. I know he has said that the geographic thing's not going to factor in as much. We'll see if that's really truly the case when it's all said and done. Of course, we're in the negotiation stage where he's trying to have his agent maximize his earnings. But you've got that. You got the love that we gave him around the All-Star break when he came in there. The chance for Ohtani. Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani. You're going to have the money to be able to spend, having that payroll as low as it is. You don't have a lot of bad money on the books. You got the opening in the outfield. He's the perfect pure player. He's got the Griffey stroke there to take advantage of that shorter porch out there in right field. He plays good defense on top of it. So much of it that adds up to me. Just go there and get it. Make it happen. Ty says, it's in my bones, man. Long as we can keep Geno safe, we win easy. Have a night. Good night, y'all. Have a good night, my man. Alice Gamer, Otani's the guy. Also just wanted to stop by real quick and say, go Hawks. Hey, go Hawks, brother. Lucky Borgans. I'm so excited driving from Salem, Oregon in the morning. Ooh, that could be kind of a creepy little drive out there, especially when the fog's dropping. I can get a little bit like, I'm not going to see a witch in front of my car 200 yards ahead staring me down on the center of the highway, am I? I didn't mean to freak you out there. I've driven that road a few times and it's definitely crossed my mind. Yeah, it's got to be a full press on Otani in utero. There's no excuses here. And if you lose out and he goes to the Dodgers or he goes to some other program and it's whatever at that point. But it can't be because you're not willing to match somebody else's offer. You will offer dollar for dollar whatever anyone else will spend. You open up, you unroll the red carpet for him basically. And I mean, even if you were to overspend on him, this is the thing I was saying on my Crow's Nest channel when we were talking about this a bit before. Can you guys imagine how many sellouts we would have over the course of the year with Julio Rodriguez and Shohei Otani in your lineup? Every day. Tell me that we're not pushing up around 3 million is the max you can hit on the gates. So, I mean, does that factor into it too? Does that come into it as well? You'd hope. Got to get the basketball team too, man. I'm with you on that. Daryl Sadler, awesome insights. Go Hawks and utero. Got to miss the Sonics. I do too. Did Sean Kemp get everything okay with that legal thing and the whole shooting incident thing that popped up? I'd like to know on that. Hopefully Sean's okay. Folks, we are going to go ahead and wrap it up here. We got 2.5 hours in a good stream here tonight, I think. So we will go ahead and kind of put a button on this one now. I will be back tomorrow right at 1 o'clock for the game. We'll be going out throughout the game. Just want to put a note out to you guys here in the live stream again for tomorrow. We'll be live streaming throughout the game. As soon as the game ends, I'm going to be breaking out and stopping the stream because I'm going over to the Bleacher Report. I'm going to do a half-hour show on the Bleacher Report, and then I come back to the channel and we'll do open post-game discussion after that point. So you'll be seeing 2 streams post up on your inbox, however that thing shows for you guys on your channel feeds. But that's why, because we got that kind of breaking it up a little bit tomorrow. So just want to prep you guys for that. Thank you to everybody here in the channel tonight for dropping on in. I want to give one last final shout out here again to the sponsor of the show, Underdog Fantasy. Right now, Underdog Fantasy has got some great A, cool little contests you can get into there on their channel, including the $100,000 Sundays. And it's just a single player pick, higher or lower than you are in the sweepstakes for the $100,000. This week, they've got Tyreek Hill on higher than 91 yards, which is probably a pretty safe bet right now, if I was to say so, because of the fact that you have Waddle out of the game with a concussion there. But if you use my code NEST, you can click the link down in the description section of my video, and they will match you up to $100 on your first deposit. Now, there are some limitations within the state of Washington. Sorry about that. But unfortunately, within the state of Washington, there's just some laws and rules, regulations that make it a little tight there. But outside of that, there are other places in the country, or other places in the world. You will be able to use my code. Get $100 on me, support the channel, maybe go out there and win some money. Win. But thank you out there to the Underdog folks for sponsoring this show throughout the course of this season. Very, very kind of them for doing that, and I am very appreciative. Thank you as well, Roxanne Roll, Megan Gock, Roger Hoodie, Jube, Zorn76, Jeffrey Thistle, Ski Nation, Nicholas Newton, Chase Stern, Soon, John Catalano. All of you for so much. Thank you very much for your donations to the channel and all of your support. You're absolutely unbelievable. I didn't even warn you guys I was doing a stream tonight. Just popped on, and still that support is always ever present there. And I hope you guys really do understand that I really do appreciate it. You've allowed me as much again to do this again for a second straight year. And I'm just getting a little bit better at getting the videos out a little faster, but I'm still being able just to put that time in the channel. I'm working on right now a Jackson Smith and Jigba video for next week to kind of get a little bit of a first look in on that. So that's kind of what's coming down in the pike here as far as the next kind of upload that we'll be seeing. And I'll probably get that out on Monday, Tuesday, depending on how fast I can get that thing cooked out. But thank you guys for a great show. Do hit that like button if you haven't already. Do get subbed up if you're not already, as we are on the road here this year to try to get to 15,000. Look like we're going to get well past that mark as we're cooking along here. But thank you guys for hitting that like button and doing what you guys do. The chat was awesome, as you guys ever are tonight. Thanks for keeping the positive vibes out there. I think we're all in the kind of same mindset with this upcoming game. We're cautiously optimistic. We feel good about it, but we know it's going to be a bit of a battle. We know the heart attack Hawks are going to rear their head at some point through the course of this game, and maybe all 4 quarters, because that's just what they do. My name is Brandon Kane. This is the Hawks Nest. Thank you for watching. I'll be back in about 11 hours or so. But until I get back in that time, I hope I don't have to remind you, but I'm still going to do anyway. I hope you don't forget, but I'm going to still let you know anyway. Please don't you ever forget. Go Hawks.